Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tim Dillon Show. You know, Regis and Kathy Lee are done. Kelly and Michael, I think, are done. I don't even know. Who's the new Anderson Cooper and whoever? I just think this country needs a new morning show. And it would look exactly or very similar to this. I think this is what, we might have a little bit of a nicer backdrop, but a morning show for America would be Candace and Tim in the morning. We lead with the person she's just done a little better, let's be honest, in follower counts and exposure. And I will tag right along. And I mean, first of all, thank you for doing this.
Candace and Tim.
Candace, oh yeah, for sure.
It was like Regis and Kelly.
I play my position. I know the deal.
Just making sure.
Candace and Tim. I fully play my position. I show up, you hand me an index card, I'm good.
That's good.
I go for sure. Yeah.
Okay, good. Great.
You know, I wanted to tell you a fun story that I think you'll like. I know that you probably you know your reach, but I think it surprises you sometimes. I was at the Beverly Hills Hotel. A French guy who checks me in all the time goes, "Get over here." I thought there was like a problem in the hotel. I didn't know what was going on. I thought there was a leak in the room. He goes, "Listen," he's whispering in the lobby of the hotel. He goes, "Are you watching the Candace Owens expose right now?" And I said, "Yeah, I kind of a little bit." And he goes, "Oh my God." He goes, "I'm from France." And he goes, "I believe it's true." And he's like, "I know people who've seen weird stuff." And we just started giggling like schoolgirls and talking, watching Candace Owens, because you've now become like this wild investigative, like you do these deep dives into stuff. And it's really wild. And like, it was just really fun to me that, you know, this guy who's just checking me into a hotel was really like watching your content. And then he's on this thing's blown up in France.
Oh,
and
everywhere. I mean, it is the most international thing I've ever done. And I could not have ever predicted that it would be that big.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is if Emmanuel Macron had not sent me that letter threat, we were only going to do one episode.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's like I was so angry that he had the audacity to send a server processor to Nashville, Tennessee. And I'm a little testy when I'm pregnant. I'll give you that, but someone is gonna knock on my front door and say, "The president of France says you're not allowed to speak or else." So yeah, it's just a challenge. So I was like, okay, like now we're really doing this thing. Like I already knew he married a dude,
right?
But now we're really doing this thing, and we just poured hours and hours and hours into just more research, tagging it on, making sure people could follow it themselves and understand like this wasn't like for funsies. It's like he actually married a dude.
What was interesting about this thing, I mean, you go on this, I mean, I don't want to call it a treasure hunt, but you go on this really exhaustive trip, this research into Brigitte Macron, who, by the way, a lot of people in France agree with you.
Oh, they know.
Of all political stripes. And by the way, gay people, trans, like this is not like a lot of people are like, one of the journalists who looked into this was a gay journalist. Like a lot of people are like, yeah, something's up here. Something's up.
Oh, it's more than up. It is like 1,000% true. Or else the way that he could have stopped the entire docuseries, for those people who haven't like watched it, we then wrote back to the president and his mister at the Élysée Palace and said, "I'm glad you opened up lines of communication. We're not interested. We're not in the business of defaming anyone.
Right.
I would make a fool of myself.
Right.
So if you would just kindly answer this yes or no question, like, were you born a woman, a female, Brigitte? We'll include this and we'll stop the series." They declined to do it.
Right.
So who would not stop if I'm like, I'm about to do this huge piece and you can stop it by simply answering yes or no, but they couldn't do that because then they would have been lying on record. It would have opened up way more issues. And unfortunately, he's not familiar with law in America, but in order to reach that actual malice standard, you have to show that we acted in reckless disregard for the truth. You refuse to say the truth. I mean, it was just this pompous 100-page, we don't have to answer whether or not like Brigitte is a woman or a man. What a bizarre thing to say.
It's such an odd story because what it does, what's very interesting about the story to me, there's many layers to it. And what it really calls into question is, how much do we know about the people who run our lives?
Nothing.
So this is what's really interesting to me. These people are introduced at some point as the best option to lead whatever. I think one of the reasons Trump was so popular is that people knew him for 30 years. Love him, hate him. Multiple wives, this, that, and the other. You know, people say nasty things about him. People adore him, but they know him. He's not, you know, certain people, Bill Clinton is governing the smallest state in America and is then thrust into the spotlight. Barack Obama, a lot of people on the right wing just emerge and they become, you know, a household name immediately. We don't know. No one is doing a lot of research into the backstories of any of these people.
Right.
And when we do, we're attacked. You're being attacked. It's like it's the craziest. I'm like, what is happening?
And it's so much crazier because there's stuff that I can't say on record just yet.
Of course.
I'll tell you off camera,
Please.
but it's gotten even crazier in terms of like Emmanuel has really come undone because he has never been this exposed. Everyone kind of already knew in France because in France it was being like it was a bubble, but the journalists again on the left were the ones that fell down the hole as they were trying to write these honestly, they were trying to prop up Brigitte. They were trying to write these feminist pieces about Brigitte, and then suddenly, they're like, oh, they were trying to do like the Michelle Obama, oh, this is amazing for women. And then when they tried to do any bit of research, they fell down a hole because the person didn't exist. And then suddenly they were being called into the Elysee Palace. Like, imagine I'm going to write this glowing piece about Ivanka Trump and her childhood.
Right.
And suddenly you get called in and you have Secret Service being like, what are you working on?
Right. And there's no
What
photos.
do you, no, there's, you can't do, here's what you're going to write. And let me tell you how it's going to go. And people were going, this is weird. Why can't I find or confirm anything? Why are they locking down yearbooks? Imagine if you were like, I'm going to write about Candace. I'm like, I'm going to Stanford High School. And then suddenly like Stanford High School starts locking down yearbooks. Something's not right here. This is not, it should be very easy to fact check that somebody existed.
It's very easy to find at least a few
cheerleading
photos
maybe
of somebody.
I don't know, you in the hospital when you gave birth to your 3 kids. Doesn't everybody take that first photo?
But you also go into this thing. And by the way, you know, some of this is, and you've just, when you're doing this, the sense of humor, I don't know if you know how funny it is, but it is, I mean, it's laugh out loud. And I mean, the staff at these hotels where we're all just watching, and people like the richest people in the world, like, hey, our room services, we're like, can you relax? We're on episode 3. There's 6 episodes. We have a lot to do. But it's very funny you deliver this stuff. First of all, this idea that really struck me about this whole thing was, number one, she gets together with him. He's like 15, right? So this
it's already weird. It started
it's
weird.
Already like a huge problem.
It's like you're 40 and he's 16. So like, even if this was above board, he's 14, you're 40, we got a problem.
Huge problem. But then this is what really makes me laugh. It is, and Candace, you gotta, if you haven't watched this, you gotta watch it because she handles this in a very funny way. It's sold that this is like a voluptuous model that like is on, like no one could resist this woman. Like every guy in class is gonna be looking at this woman going like, this woman is voluptuous and really attractive and like she's just a
Claudia Schiffer.
Yeah. And then the photos come out of Brigitte Macron. And immediately you go, they're lying about everything. Like everything's a lie. Like you see this and immediately you go, wait a minute, hold on. Everything seems to be a lie. We've all seen beautiful women and we know what good looking women look like. There's nothing wrong. You know what I mean? It's like, this isn't a voluptuous French.
This is a gym teacher, a PE teacher.
Yes.
Yeah, they already when they were trying to run Emmanuel, they knew they had to justify this weird age gap, and so the press went out.
Which again was 48 and 15.
It was at best, they were trying to tell 40 and 14, okay? At best.
Which is illegal.
But actually,
maybe not there,
it's 48 and 14 because we know
that's
that
the craziest.
Once you get to the end of it, you realize, this is Jean-Michel Trogneau. But if she actually had been Brigitte, the identity that she stole, then it would have been 40 and 14. So they first went to the press and wrote a bunch of confusing articles like, oh, actually, no, he was 15. And they sold him as this like virtuoso Mozart. Right. And she was just supposed to be, according to the press, if you just read the articles and nobody actually found pictures of her, this just irresistible, drop dead Claudia Schiffer, sexy. All the boys, imagine their hormones running, they're horny. Like, oh, we love this teacher. She's so hot. And then you see the actual photos of her.
No, it's crazy.
And you're like, no boy. No
No, it's
boy,
crazy.
not one boy at this school, not even one boy at this school was into this. So what is this? Why did the press even lie to us about that? And then you start realizing something's very wrong here with this picture.
Something's very wrong here, and then you start, and then you do this amazing job of, because there's a lot of people that have looked into this in France, and they've been defamed and sued.
Detained. Detained. The main journalist on this had to move his family because they were trying to get him on taxes. Like, I
Right.
will find any crime. And they started going after people for really small and petty things.
And they didn't care who's writing about this. They're going after everybody. And it's weird for a story with no legs or for something that's completely untrue. Why would they be detaining people?
Why would a president of a country
Send
send
a
a letter
letter
to Nashville,
to you?
Tennessee?
Yeah, it's crazy.
To like a pregnant woman that's like recording from her basement. That
Right.
tells you the story's true. I mean, there's no
Right.
otherwise you'd be like, well, part of being a president, people write stuff about you all the time. I mean, the stuff they say about
Right.
Trump, like
Yeah.
he's not gonna. You can't chase down every person that's saying something unless there's something here
Right.
that you're very fearful of, and it's terrifying when you get to it.
What do you think the reaction is in, the palace to when this line of inquiry starts coming from you, from someone in America with a massive platform? Are they panicked?
Yes.
Yeah.
They are panicked. They are making phone calls. Their lawyers are still calling my lawyers. They still asked for us to take down the series because they were afraid when Joe Rogan mentioned it recently. So they made another phone call and were basically like, we could still sue you in the future, but maybe you just want to take it down. And I'm like, have they not worked through my character? Stop with these phone calls. I said to my lawyer, if they call again, we're doing a season 2 because I left a lot on the table.
Yeah.
I basically was like,
This
there's
is
so
amazing.
much here.
No, if they call again, you're going to get this on Netflix.
It's what-
If they call
stop
again,
calling
yeah,
pregnant
yeah.
Candace.
No, of course,
Please.
of course. Now, you go through this whole thing. This opens these interesting doors, right? Now, a lot of people, you find yourself in this subterranean world that most people don't know exists, right? Where you have intelligence agencies and these programs, things like MK Ultra. Now, some people do know about this stuff. Some people are, really well educated on this stuff. Some people have a passing familiarity with it. But they were mind control programs that were in America. They were all over the place. And these were programs that were utilized to turn, people into essentially slaves that could be programmed to do things, whether it was assassinate someone and not remember why or who told you to do it.
Right.
Or be a sex slave. Or perhaps in a Manchurian candidate fashion, run the government.
Run a country.
Run a country.
And that is who Emmanuel Macron is. And the craziest part
So
is
that's kind of the, at the end of
I
this,
mean,
your
by the
belief
time I
when
looked
you-
at everything, think about this. This is a guy who was sold to the public as a virtuoso, Mozart. He was just so brilliant. When you get to the episode where I explained to you that essentially, just so Americans understand, they have a program that every person who runs a bank goes through. Let's call it like
Yeah.
a graduate program, like going to maybe UPenn and getting your MBA. It's slightly different, but just for sake of understanding here. So he went to this program after failing to get into it 3 times. Then magically they're just like, okay, you can get in. And not only did he then get in, but he graduated at the top of his class. There was some like test that they had to do, and he graduated. And everyone on campus knew he was an idiot, okay? For the first time in that college's, university, or program's history, the students revolted and said these are clearly fake test scores. There's no way this idiot, Emmanuel Macron, got the number 1 grade in this. We all know he's an idiot. And so for the first time in that program's history, because the kids were so outraged, they just canceled results because they made it up that he finished the top of his class. Beyond that, he then goes and works for Rothschild's Bank, right? Is the youngest ever managing partner. The people that work at Rothschild's Bank said he was such an idiot, he didn't even know what EBITDA meant. But they all knew that David Rothschild just plucked him up, and that was essentially give him a fake
he's never
resume.
defined himself intellectually
Never.
in any capacity.
No, and he was
he's
just
top of his class, and now he's working at Rothschild Bank, the youngest managing whatever.
Yeah, and so that was done by the Wall Street Journal, who did a book on this. So this isn't like we're finding this stuff on Reddit threads. The people spoke out and were like, he was such an idiot, but it didn't matter daughter.
And when this
we
is in the-
understood that he
yeah.
was like protected Rothschild, and they needed to kind of create this fake resume for him to make people think he was a genius. He's not. Emmanuel Macron is not smart.
And when the traditional press is looking into this and they're finding similar things to what you're finding, how are they presenting this idea that this kind of like empty suit of a guy is like failing upwards?
Yeah, I think what a lot of these mainstream journalists do is they kind of say what they have to say in a very professional way, and they leave it for the people like me to then kind of,
It's a good point. Yeah.
go there and say,
Right.
hey guys, this is what a Manchurian candidate would look like.
Right.
These people tend to always be in drama classes.
Right.
It's just like Zelensky is obviously so.
Yeah. Right. He
Is
was
anybody
a-
actually thinking that Zelensky's running the country?
He
He's a
played the
literal
president
actor
in a
who played
comedic
yes,
show. Yeah.
and they all are in these. They're all in drama classes.
I always
in theater.
imagine Vladimir Putin finding that out and almost being like, what, the CIA is not even trying.
No, that I
That's
feel
the
that
thing.
way.
It's not even, it's so crazy.
I do feel that way.
yeah.
I often
It would be
picture Vladimir
installing
Putin.
Khloe Kardashian
Right.
to run, the Ukraine. Yeah,
And I
it's an-
wouldn't even say
yeah,
Chloe. I could probably buy more than Zelensky
For sure.
He's just—it's so odd. It's like, who is behind you? Why are
Yeah.
we doing this?
Right.
That was why they freaked out about the Tucker Putin interview, because Putin at one point, when Tucker asked a question
Yeah.
about what about the president or whatever, or he said he shook hands with Bill Clinton, agreed to something, and Putin was kind of like, I don't deal with your presidents, I deal with the CIA. Like your
Right.
presidents are just kind
Right,
of
they
like
come, they go.
they're
come, they go.
puppets. Like, I got to deal with the CIA. And these are the sorts of things they don't want the public to know, right? Because
Right.
we need to all believe in this illusion, like you voted this person in and this person's really running things and the deep state doesn't exist. But never, and I've come to terms with that a long time ago, but never in a million years did I think, I mean, the Emmanuel Macron story is wacky because it's like, if you're already going to go through this effort to choose a Manchurian candidate, is it just not like crazy enough just doing that? Like, do you really have to add on the transitioning of a potential family member who molested him when he was a kid and just see if you can get away with it? Is it just like, ha ha ha, let's see if the public, if we just have a man
So
as
that-
the first lady,
yeah.
that's like a really big.
So who is Brigitte Macron?
Brigitte Macron was an individual who was born Jean-Michel Trogneau.
And the relation to Emmanuel is?
That I can't say for certain.
Okay.
That's why we did not conclude how they are related. My sense is it's the missing uncle whose name is Jean-Michel, who was
Not a bad guess.
who was the godfather when Emmanuel Macron got first communion at school, who's just missing. Like, there's
Yeah.
just like a missing. That's my best bet, is that it's an uncle, but I don't know. I know that without question that Brigitte Macron was not born a woman. We've given them every ample opportunity to clarify that fact, and what they've done behind the scenes since that series has only further stressed that we have definitively stumbled upon the truth, and they are going through very desperate measures right now to try to get our series removed off of YouTube.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like, as far as you could possibly go in terms of trying to get this series removed and to get me shut up, because they know that the legal route isn't working. They're placing high phone calls. They're doing whatever they can. And that should signal to the public that this is real. Because, again, if somebody made a series and was like, no, Candace Owens was actually born Michael, I'd be like, dude, public, you're an idiot. Like, that's
Right.
actually kind of funny.
There's something interesting about the idea that if you can sell people on this, then what else could you sell people on? You know, if this is the case where this woman who was Jean-Michel Trogneau, they've put the entire French press to sleep, and they've done this with the help of a kind of PR guru
Right.
in France,
A gangster. Let's be clear.
a gangster.
Mimi Marchand is a gangster.
She's a gangster.
She's again now being tried for extortion and all this stuff. But that's the way the governments run. I don't think people can process that, but it's like the CIA was a gang. They are a
Right.
gang.
Right.
They will kill people
Yeah.
who don't do what they want. And so in order to massage this in the public, they used a woman.
People feel very comfortable saying that about Putin in Russia and places, but they find it unbelievable that in America there would be violence
They're like, no.
or targeted assassinations or blackmail or things like that.
It's weird.
Open Phone is the #1 business phone system that streamlines and scales your customer communications. It works through an app on your phone or computer. So no more carrying two phones or using a landline. With Open Phone, your team can share one number and collaborate on customer calls and text like a shared inbox. That way, any teammate can pick up right where the last person left off, keeping response times faster than ever. If you're in any type of service, business, sales, whatever, you cannot miss a call. If you miss a call from a potential customer, you're leaving money on the table. With AI-powered call transcripts and summaries, you'll be able to automate follow-ups, ensuring you'll never miss a customer interaction again. OpenPhone is offering my listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/Tim. OPENPHONE.com/Tim. And if you have existing numbers with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. OpenPhone, no missed calls, no missed customers.
Yeah. Are you banned from France?
I wouldn't go to France.
Yeah.
I've effectively banned myself because they have the full power to do whatever they want in France. I mean, think about the fact that they arrested Pavel Durov for a bit.
Right. For Telegram.
Yeah, they are not. That is not a free speech country, and they are deranged. And so, if they're already arresting journalists, I'm like number one. If they went through the strenuous effort to send me a 100-page letter, I'm not going to go into their gang territory.
It's your belief that you've got Emmanuel Macron, who goes through this program. He's selected at a very young age to basically be some type of Manchurian candidate. And then at some point, Jean-Michel Trogneau becomes Brigitte, who then becomes a teacher.
Yeah.
And then...
to further groom. He was groomed by Brigitte. There's no question.
Right. And then Macron is 14, Brigitte's 40, and then they begin at what point do they begin a courtship? I'm like confused.
Well, the official story is that they tell you is she saw him on stage performing in the play. And as a 40-year-old woman, even that was a flag for me. Like,
it's
older women, like
no, it's a psychotic
men will
story.
Find like younger women attractive.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like a hot 18-year-old. Older women, like, have you ever seen a 14-yeear-old boy? I mean, they're like literally like a gang. Like, it's not like a man in their prime is going to be like a 22-year-old. You know what I mean? Right. Like, have you ever seen a 14-year-old boy? I'm like, we don't find. Why would a 40-year-old woman?
Every
find
woman
a
I know
14-year-old
likes
boy.
People that are usually their age or a little bit older.
You want the Troy Brad Pitt age for men. So when you see a woman and she's a cougar, she's a cougar for Troy.
Right.
Brad Pitt and Troy.
No,
she's not looking for
crime.
a 14-year-old boy.
No, we're talking about a crime.
It's a crime. I'm like, everyone just go find a 14-year-old boy.
It's a crime.
No, it's a crime. There's not a hot 14-year-old boy. They're very much in their weird phase.
She's a teacher at this school.
Yeah.
He's a student.
And he's in a play, and she just was so
By the way, what happened?
away.
Remember the Me Too? Remember all the concerns about all the things like this? This would seem to be prime.
I would hope it would fall in the parameters of, a little bit of Me Too-ing.
Fall in the parameters of an inappropriate power dynamic?
Just a little bit. Yeah. And so, she then claims that, it was just so irresistible, and then at some point they pursue a relationship, and that part gets a little bit fuzzy.
I would imagine.
Yeah, that part gets a little bit fuzzy, alleging she was married. And, I mean, you have to watch. There's so much there that's just insanity.
No, and it's being
insanity.
Talked about by so many different people that, because you've waded into a lot of things recently where you have a perspective that a lot of people don't have. But as soon as they start listening to you, they start going, wait a minute. Whether they agree with all your conclusions or not, the general consensus is that you're on to something.
Yeah.
So, and for example, people, anti-Semitism or this, that, and the other thing. But there is a prominent Jewish person that you are helping that no one else is helping.
Yeah, they ignore that part. She's Adolf Hitler.
There is a very prominent Jewish person who you are actually helping that no one is helping, and that person is Harvey Weinstein, and you have looked over this and have come to, I don't want to say a conclusion, but you're certainly leaning in the direction that we don't know the whole story.
He was wrongfully convicted, is my conclusion. And I the thing about me is when you listen to my podcast, I'll tell you my thoughts. Like the whole idea of saying that like you're not biased or like it is ridiculous. So I will say to someone, I've looked over this case. after looking over this case, I've concluded that Harvey Weinstein was wrongfully convicted and was basically just hung on the Me Too thing. And I'm going to show you how I got there, but I'm going to give you access to everything I'm looking at. Like, I'm not here to tell you I'm the expert and I'm above you. You can investigate this with me. And Harvey Weinstein, when this came across my plate, honestly, somebody contacted me, and I thought he was guilty. I mean, that even shows that I think I'm impervious to the media, and I always know the media's lying, but I clearly fell for the Harvey Weinstein thing because there was like 130 women. I mean, I was like, something's just basic odds here.
Something's going on.
Someone's got to be telling the truth. And then I realized I didn't even know why he was in prison. I didn't even recognize how many women actually put him in prison, and it came down to just 3. In all of those cases, 3 women. And when you look at the case, it is the most absurd, ridiculous. You have to genuinely believe that a woman can be, while having a 4-year affair, raped one time, continued the affair for multiple years. That one time she was raped right after, emailed him for tickets to go to Paris, to be flown with her friends to Paris. That part she doesn't remember, or when she gets questioned on the stand, she breaks down crying, right? She breaks down crying. Like, why would you do this? And also, after she got raped, brought her mom to meet him. Like, it just gets it's a little too much. I know what a sugar baby is, okay?
Right.
The world knows what sugar babies are. I fully accept that he abused his power. Of course, people know you're Harvey freaking Weinstein. You've done the most amazing movies ever.
Right.
And these women are not sleeping with you because you're Brad Pitt and Troy, right?
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying?
That's right, yeah.
And so they feel like and then imagine doing that, you sleep with him, and then afterwards your career doesn't take off. And so I feel these women are trying to rinse themselves of their sins of oh no, I didn't sleep with Harvey Weinstein when I was young.
Right.
I was raped. When you read these women's emails following their, quote unquote rapes or sexual assaults, you just go,
something's
listen,
up.
I'm not an expert. I know we're in the age of the experts.
Right.
I'm not an expert on what does and does not qualify rape, but I would like to think that you wouldn't say, oh, he's like a father to me. Oh, I love him. He's a mentor. He's this. My mom meets him. It's when you read these emails and read how many there are, you just go, okay, this was something else, right?
Right.
And also you would then be alone with him again over and over in a hotel room. Would you not try to avoid the circumstance ever again?
It feels like a incredible stretch to say that somebody who we know abuses power and, was not acting in a moral or upstanding way, or, was probably aggressive and did things that nobody would support, should just be convicted on the basis of a general vibe instead of a specific set of provable allegations.
Right.
Which I think is where you landed on this.
Yeah, and I landed on that and had said that publicly on Twitter, and then that was before the appellate court reversed the decision. So I said it, and then a few months ago, Harvey Weinstein's decision got overturned in New York, and the appellate judges said the exact same thing. They were like, this was a kangaroo court. I mean, I don't understand. They were allowing anyone to come into the court and say whatever. You would get a former assistant that was like, I was there one time, and him and his brother got into a fight.
Yeah.
Just character assassination in the courtroom.
I was a juror
because
on
they
a
didn't
murder
have
trial, and they, at one time, they were like, you cannot bring up other things this defendant did.
Exactly.
We are trying this defendant on these set of allegations and nothing else.
Right. They let it with Harvey Weinstein and let anyone, you could say, he took my pencil in 8th grade.
Right.
It was just a full character assassination that had nothing to do.
Have you spoken to him?
Yeah. I speak to Harvey.
Yeah. And how does he feel that one human being on earth is trying to, shed light on this case?
He
Because
called me.
Am I wrong? You're it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And he called me and he thanked me. I mean, hasn't had this much hope in years. And, he'd been listening to his lawyers for a long time. Don't talk to anyone. Don't say anything. And that was part of the struggle of bringing this story forward, because they're like, well, you don't want to blow your chances. And I said to him, listen, I don't think your lawyers understand. You're in prison because you lost the public war. You know what I mean?
Right.
Me Too was they were just hanging people publicly.
Right.
And if you don't actually get out what happened, and he was just, elated. Like for the first time he had hope. And the thing that's so sad that people don't realize, and I don't know how these women sleep at night, is he has kids. He has kids that are growing up, and they are being told that their father is a rapist. Not your father is a bad man and a moral man. Your father abused his power. All those things might be true, but a rapist, which is something totally different. And I just don't understand how people can sleep at night, because
and he denies that. He says, "I am not a rapist."
No, he's denied it from the very beginning, and he's admitted, "I've had affairs." Why'd you pay him off? He's like, "Because I was cheating on my wife nonstop at the peninsula," and so when these women came and were like, "Well, you better pay me," I paid some of them off, obviously,
right?
But when you read the emails, it is ridiculous. It defies common sense to believe that anyone would communicate like that for years and years after they were allegedly assaulted or they were allegedly raped, and they all were looking for careers. They're all in the industry. They're all asking him for tickets, and he was the guy. And he got them the tickets, by the way.
We watched the Kevin Spacey doc, and it were these guys who were like, "Well, he was inappropriate," but then I went to his apartment. It's like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
You're trying to get something, and fine, but then you can't turn around and go, "This guy ruined my life," because it does feel like there is a fair amount of revisionist history or Monday morning quarterbacking. Again, not Harvey Weinstein. We're not saying it's like the moral paragon of whatever.
He's not Justin Baldoni. Like, it's not like a case where you're like, this guy was just such an amazing person.
No, of course.
But people need to be nuanced.
And you got into that one too.
Yeah, that one really got me angry.
I was kind of barely paying attention to that one.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of like, I paid attention a little bit to Depp Heard. And then I felt this was kind of a Depp Heard sequel.
Oh, it was so much worse. He did nothing. He just did nothing.
And what was the motivation?
I just think
for Blake Lively to do this.
I think for a very long time, we just as a society didn't realize Ryan Reynolds was a psychopath.
Interesting.
And because he was kind of playing himself as Deadpool, and people thought it was like kind of funny, and then something triggered him about Justin Baldoni, and he went on an absolute tear to destroy every layer of this man's life. And his wife wanted to control the movie. She admitted as much on stage. That's what she does. She pretends she just wants to act, but she's really there because she wants to take over movies. And just the lengths that they went through to destroy this. Yeah. I think it's like you see a puppy, you can, and Ryan was just like, I can do it.
You gotta listen to it, because when Candace goes through it.
Another Jewish guy I'm defending. Yeah, it's just like, and nobody pays. They're like, no, she's still hidden.
I've actually petitioned for you to get an award from several Jewish organizations.
ADL
we haven't heard back.
Awarding me.
But I when you go through this, what's interesting is that I'm the weirdly Hollywood adjacent. I've done one movie. It was the worst movie ever, Joker 2. Shout out to everyone who ruined that. And I said, everyone goes, "Are you think they're mad at you for saying how bad it was?" I go, "What am I going to do? I make a living with my fucking mouth. I'm going to lie and go, no, it's great. It's great that the Joker's doing show tunes. Isn't that what everyone wants? Isn't that what everyone wants, is show tunes with, So I was in one movie, and again, I don't I'm plugged in, but you from the total outside, this is what's very interesting. As somebody who's really in the outside, you see things better in a lot of these situations than people that are in it, because you have this detachment where you can go, wait a minute, what's going on? Where you're like, because I just heard, I'm like, oh, I guess there's some weird. I didn't think he was super guilty, but I'm like, some weirdness on set, whatever, kind of ignored it, move on. But you're like, no, this was a complete attempt to destroy this man's life.
Yeah, it was bad. Put him in the hospital.
Yeah.
And he is the most frustrating person because he never once fought back for himself. He genuinely.
Why do you think that is? Because he's being told by people, just don't say anything.
So here's the thing. A lot of people, most people I would think in Hollywood are a lot like Ryan and Blake, where they pretend to be good people by giving money and virtue signaling. And I give to this cause, I care about this, or I'm a male feminist and they're not. He actually is all of those things.
Right.
He actually is.
Right.
He just takes it from people, and I need to be better, and he's constantly just hitting himself over the head. I need to be better. I went through his Instagram page, and I like suffered from PTSD with how nice he was. I didn't like it. It was like it was like way too nice. You know, I was just like, good, just one time stand up for yourself.
Right. Yeah.
When a woman's like, men shouldn't speak, he's like, you're right. We just shouldn't. I'm like, no, you can speak. And so I just knew right away. I think I'm a person that I lived through enough when I was young that I kind of had to sharpen my ability to read people very quickly. You know, like a basic survival skill. So that's probably more of just the things I saw when I was little.
Right.
And so I had to wise up real quick, and I got to read people, and I know how to read. I think that's my one like superhuman skill. Is I'm just like, don't trust that one. Don't. And Blake Lively, I've just like, your best friend to Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Don't trust that one.
Right.
Like, she's been moving and has gotten away with it for years.
Right.
Like victimizing people while pretending she's a victim.
I know things.
Everybody
that I will not
knows
say
things
right now.
about Taylor Swift.
I will say know things that Taylor Swift and her mother have left messages on other pop stars' phones threatening them.
No, they're
Fully.
like
Fully.
everybody knows this. They'll eventually come out. Come at her. Come at her. Come at him, bro.
Yeah, or her.
Or
it's
her.
2025.
Come at me, bro. I don't even care.
Come at Brigitte or Michelle Trogneau.
Or me or Tim.
Yeah, but listen, the reality is
she's vicious. She is vicious. And so for Blake and her to be best friends right away, and I've known Blake is really just like, there's just very surface. She's never had to work for anything in her life. She's not talented. Everything gets handed to her. And she's quite mean to people. Everyone knows that.
She's
that
that
long
role she
pattern.
played on Gossip Girl.
She
like
is.
That. Yeah.
That's actually, and that's what I'm saying. And he's actually Deadpool. So, you know, I just knew right away that the power dynamics and the fact that she was like trying to do Me Too, but Me Too was years ago. She did it like a little too late.
Right, she was
a little too late to the Me Too party. She came up, she arrived fashionably late to the Me Too party, but the party was over. You know what I mean? And I just went, I think I need to hear a little more here. This isn't like, it's not passing the vibe check. It's like, and then when Brian Friedman, who is like my favorite person right now, just like said F that, like read every single text message online. It was incredible. You got to do it. You actually have to sit down and do it because it's very scary. It's like shockingly like terrifying.
Well, here's what's interesting. And this is what I think is this connective tissue that you have between a lot of the stories you're doing. One of the things I think that it fascinates you, and it kind of fascinates me and it's interesting, is what can you get people to believe? This, I feel like, from consuming some of your content and watching your stuff, what can you pass yourself off as? What can you get people to believe? How? Because here's what I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, there is a part of you that obviously we disagree with what people are doing, but you almost got to give it to them in a little bit. You're impressed by the elaborate hoax and the production value of it, even though it has gaping holes in it where you go in and go, wait a minute, this is wrong. But I've always been amazed at what could get sold and how it's been sold.
There is an IDTV element of it.
Yeah.
Where you're like, a crime happened.
Right.
And this person like almost got away with it.
Yes.
And it was elaborate, and the planning that went into this, like Ryan Reynolds, the New York Times, sitting down planning this, how to get someone's cell phone by pretending you have a different lawsuit. Like, there's so many elements. I'm like, this is a true crime story. And at the same time, this person was just like allowed to exist in the public and pretend to be a good person because like he gave to AMFAR and BLM. Like that, there's a psychological element. And I do think that one of my interests is, like my natural interest is psychology. It's why I'm interested in all of these psychological programs the government used to run, like Chaos, and how easy it is to socially engineer a mind. It's so easy. Like our minds are so malleable. And that's why even when I have these moments where I check myself, like the Harvey Weinstein case, because I thought he was so guilty, it kind of scared me about myself because I was like, oh my God, Candace, you have been so good about making sure that your mind is not being manipulated, and even you fell for one. And I was vocally anti-Me Too, but I was like, oh yeah, Harvey Weinstein's definitely guilty. That one's, I don't have to look into that.
I think a lot of people that, you know, think they know a lot, know very little. And it's very surprising to me. I've met people that have gone to the best schools and they have risen to positions of prominence in society. They're not unintelligent. They're incredibly capable. They're savvy in their own business. They're tremendously competent. They've made vast sums of money. They are incredibly, sharp. But if you take them out of that world and you just ask them to process some of the things that we've talked about today, they're at a complete loss.
Oh, yeah. I think the longer you stay in school, the dumber you become.
Yeah.
I do think that there is a common sense street element that gets completely lost when you're just trying to like add a bunch of degrees to your life and certifications. And that's why when we get into this like expert problem, where they just were like, I don't know how I got it wrong on COVID.
Right.
And then there was this clip of Andrew Tate speaking about COVID where he's like, you know, if you're on the block and somebody comes up to you and they're like, eat this cheeseburger, you know, I just really want you to eat this cheeseburger. You just instinctively know, like, I'm good.
Right.
Right? You're trying real hard to get me. And in a way that's like, it's free. Just take it. It's free.
Right.
And what he's speaking to is street smarts. And that gets lost when you're just kind of off the streets and in the academia. And that you see that a lot. And they just the experts just kind of keep getting it wrong because they're missing that common sense element. And you realize that if you want to trick an expert, just put it in an expert book. Like they wake up every day and they're like, well, the New York Times couldn't possibly lie to me. And I've read the article in the New York Times. And the New York Times says that Justin Baldoni is basically akin to a rapist. So obviously it's true.
Or
There's
give them
no
a big bag of money. Giving a big bag of money
that
tends
also
to work
works.
too.
That also
a nice expert book and a big bag of money works. And listen, there are obviously people in society that know more about things than other people. There are people that are trained in a degree in a field, but then there's also a lot of people that are bought, are being controlled.
I'm in politics. Yeah, I know. Are you kidding me? I've seen it over and over again. It's sad to watch too, because they don't start like that.
No.
You know, I've been with people and come up in politics with them, and they're great and they're motivated by all the right things. And then I think what happens is you don't realize you become a part of a certain class and you feel like you can't go against it. Like there's like the cult of politics that happens.
Right.
And they won't critique certain things that they know to be wrong.
Right.
Which is crazy to me.
Right.
Because
what do you say to people that go, Candace Owens, rabidly anti-Semitic, sees Jewish conspiracy theories everywhere. There is that, narrative.
Yeah. I think we could, like the whole idea that like anti-Semitism is on the rise, like my basic PR advice would just be maybe stop blowing up children, Bibi Netanyahu, and see if it
certainly
decreases.
I'm
not an expert.
Not helping.
I'm not an expert.
Certainly not helping.
But I do think that where you think you see anti-Semitism, it may just be a humane response to children being blown up for like 2 years straight.
There should be a way to acknowledge that there's a human toll of that war that is, I think is becoming.
I just want to say again, I'm not an expert.
No, of course. But I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I think the vast majority of people look at that situation and say, this is terrible. Mm-hmm. It's unsustainable. We're supporting it. We're funding it. It needs to end.
Right.
And, some people have caught more flack than others for saying it. There's clearly anti-Semites. There's clearly people that believe whatever, the Holocaust denial, whatever. There's clearly people on that side of the spectrum. But there are also people that are pointing out, a very real problem with, like you said, the massive infanticide.
That was my crime. I mean, there's no way that you're trying to sell right now that I'm trying to free Harvey Weinstein, who gave more money to the ADL, who has me on a list, by the way, while he was alive. Every Jewish cause he's given money to. And Steve Sarowitz and Justin Baldoni, these are all Ashkenazi Jews. They leave all that off the table because they're trying to conflate critique of Israel with just being Jewish, which is absurd.
Right.
And I'm sorry, it's just stupid. I'm over it. I don't care anymore. I don't even defend myself against it because it's just so overdone. We were like that place, and when BLM just went too far and everything was racist.
Well, that's the other thing. I think boring. In the beginning, a lot of people were like, yes, let's look at the way police behave.
Right.
And let's look at the way they behave in minority communities. Let's look at the way they behave across the board. We're a free country. We have a Second Amendment. We have people that have guns, are free, have autonomy. And if, police are going to have to also understand how to treat people that are, Americans, right? So I think a lot of people are like, Let's take a look at all of that. And then it went so overboard. It went to defund. It went to abolish the police.
Then it was suddenly
went to
like,
there's
if you're
no
white and
police.
you wear your hair in braids, apologize. And people are like, you know what, I'm done.
Right.
And we're now at like hair and braids apologize on the anti-Semitism thing.
Right.
And everyone's just kind of done
And
with
everyone's
it. And no one
exhausted.
cares.
And everyone's
Yeah,
exhausted.
and I certainly want to be clear. I literally don't care if you are going to call me anti-Semite because I've noticed a lot of kids are getting blown up. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous. But there's also an entitlement that that I've been trying to comprehend lately. Because there are people who think that if you get called a name because you're Jewish, it's somehow like, is this your first day on the internet? As soon as
Right.
you are on the internet,
Yeah.
when they figure out what you are, you're going to get called the thing.
Yeah.
Like every day I wake up, I log into Twitter, and I'm called the N-word. Like that's
Right.
just like, I've just come to it.
Right.
Like that just has to happen because
Right.
that's how the internet works.
Right.
And there are some people that are so fragile that like, and I'm not, when I say some people, I mean quite literally people that have texted me a screenshot of like a troll account being
Right.
like, look what this person said about Jews.
Right.
You're a 45-year-old man
Right.
who runs a satire business, Seth.
Right.
What are you like? What is this? Have you never? Is this your first day on the
Yeah,
internet?
you
Do you know how many
gotta-
times
the
I've been
internet-
called?
yes.
Like, if you can't deal with that, you gotta
Yeah.
log off. You know what I mean?
The internet is the internet.
The internet's the internet. It's a place
That's right.
for trolling. They want to find out what is your attribute, so I can call
Right.
you the thing, right?
Right.
And this starts when kids are playing Game Boys and there's a little chat. I mean,
Yeah.
they're playing. What's that game where there's the?
Well, it's a ton of them. It's Fortnite. There's any of that, right?
I don't know. I don't
Whatever it
game,
is.
but
Yeah.
they read the chats. They're insane.
Right.
That's the internet, right?
Right.
And so they have to kind of know the difference between, well, I've never seen so many people saying names because Jordan Peterson has taken this stance too. And I'm like, is this everybody's
Wait,
first
he's
time?
against name calling now?
Oh my gosh, are you
Oh,
kidding
yeah.
me?
I
He's
didn't
like, I think truly trolls have broken a lot of people.
Yeah.
And maybe
People gotta log
they're
off.
too old to be on the internet.
People
I don't know
gotta
what it is.
log
Just
off.
log off for a little bit,
Just
smell
take a-
some fresh air.
Yeah.
It's not real life. The internet is not real life. I
Right.
mean, could you imagine me?
I bet some of those children in Gaza would love to be called a name.
Right? If that's all they had to deal with. And they're acting like every day they're dealing with like, I've survived slavery. I'm Harriet Tubman. I've escaped to the north
Yeah.
because I responded
Right.
to a troll. I survived a internet holocaust. Dude, just
Right.
log off. If you are
Just
that
take a beat.
rattled,
Take a beat.
block or log off. Take a beat.
Yeah.
You know? And so
I had a war with the red mango frozen yogurt. It got very intense. And I believe I was
was this a
blocked.
troll? Red mango?
No. This is a real frozen yogurt company.
Oh, you're talking
Yeah.
about the actual red mango.
Yeah, we just started attacking.
Yeah.
I don't know how it happened, but we both were not at our best.
Have you thought about writing a book about this? Because I think you could help people.
Yeah,
It's like
we're not at our best. You
yeah.
gotta just sometimes you gotta just move on.
Red mango.
You gotta just move on.
Red Mango versus Tim. I
Yeah.
would read. By the way, I would read this.
Yeah, you have a
because
great
people
voice.
need this.
Yeah.
There's a full thing happening where
Yeah.
people really think the internet is real.
Really, Ron? Let's hope not.
I think we are.
I think we are too.
Never not seen Bibi Netanyahu get what he wants.
Well, it's interesting. Like everyone's like, I don't know. There's this weird like. I explained this the other day, and I was like, Iran's this like boogeyman that I've heard about since I'm 9. And me and my friend are always like, when you take hostages like Iran did in the 80s or whatever, you're just on the list forever. And everyone talks about going to Iran. Now, we've done this. We've seen this movie. We know what happens when we put Western troops in a Muslim country. We decapitate the leadership. We install a new government. It's a mess. We know what happens. This isn't like a mysterious thing of like, what's going to happen? How will this work? We know what's going to happen. And we still seem to be marching towards it.
Yeah.
And I almost wonder if some of this Defense Department stuff that's happening, and maybe Pete Hegseth is having a cocktail every now and then. I don't know. That's a possibility. But there's also a possibility that there's a lot of people that there's some turmoil because people want to move in the direction of war with Iran.
I'm just wondering, like, I don't have a crystal ball. How have
Yeah.
I been saying to my audiences for
Yeah.
3 years that we're going to war with Iran? Like,
Right.
I don't have a crystal ball. How did I know all of
Right.
these things that were going to happen when I was telling them about what was going to happen with Zelensky?
Yeah.
Guys, the media, it's all so farcical. Like,
Yeah,
just
it's
pretending.
crazy.
All you have to do is pay attention to what Bibi Netanyahu said. He's been like literally, he said, Libya He said Syria, he said Iraq, he said Iran. The footage is on the internet. And when people ask him about America, he's on camera saying America is something that can be easily manipulated, right? We're going to get what we want. All of it's there. Why are we in the Middle East? In case you didn't know this, you may not be the best geography.
Yeah.
I'm not the best geography. But America, the United States of America, is not located in the Middle East. So it's kind of weird that we just keep having nonstop beef in the Middle East, right?
Yeah.
And
a lot of it's oil, probably, right?
But that's the whole point.
For sure.
So
right.
all of us pretending like there's weapons of mass destruction.
Right.
It's about regionally, Israel wants to expand its interest and its power in the region. Truthfully, we have been in bed with Israel since its creation in 1948 and really proliferated that after JFK mysteriously got shot and we're not allowed to know anything more about that, just accept the narrative, whatever. We increased our relationship like LBJ did that. All of that, and when you speak about this real history and show, like Israel said LBJ was the greatest friend. Okay, well, that's weird because JFK was arguing with Israel leading up to his death. Him and Prime Minister Ben-Gurion were arguing every day on the phone, still not declassified. He didn't want them to go nuclear. He was trying to stop them from getting weapons. And then all of a sudden, the guy under him in command does a complete 180 once he gets shot. It's problematic that we can't have these discussions, but it's actually the most crucial thing. And this is why Dave Smith gets completely pilloried, because he's willing to talk about this unhealthy relationship and attachment that we have with Israel. I don't view the CIA and the Mossad as different organizations, and neither should you, by the way. Like, they are fundamentally the same deep state that I think have been working hand in hand for a very long time.
A lot of the interests overlap often, right? And
always.
I think that,
when have they not overlapped?
Yeah, well, I think the Saudis complicate the picture slightly.
Right.
They complicate it slightly, but I would say that there's almost always overlapping interests, right? The Saudis complicate it a bit, but it does seem like there is kind of a movement now in America to basically try to understand more about the dynamics that enable certain decisions.
Right.
I think, you know?
And there should be, because it's the thing is Israel is, as they always say, we're just a tiny country the size of New Jersey. And it's like, okay, that's not like the thing that you should be counting in your favor. Why are you causing so much crap? You know what I mean? Like,
I think there's
so they
room
need
to
bodies.
say
They
that-
need more
right.
bodies. And that's what I try to wake people up to. It's like the reason why you have to critique this country is because when they
there's
want...
also people in Israel that critique it as well, that are saying
more than any... I read Haaretz every day. They
So
are
there's
marching
people that are
in
going,
the streets.
They don't want
this war. It's not
this
Israelis. We're
expansive
talking
thing.
about governments.
We're talking
Our
about
government
governments,
sucks.
intelligence agencies. I think there's a lot to be said for the people, a lot of them in Israel, who are going, we think Bibi Netanyahu
is corrupt.
Is
He's
corrupt.
facing corruption trials now.
We don't want to expand the borders of this country, and the people of Israel are suffering, and Jewish people around the world are potentially suffering because of these actions.
Because of the unnecessary conflation. Like a Jewish American, you have nothing to do with this. There's no reason why you have to defend anything he's doing. This is a random country in the Middle East. And I know there's been a lot of people, and I call it's the same conditioning that black people face in the classroom. Like if you want to know why black people wanted to jump and support BLM, really without even thinking, is because they have been raised to understand that there's this existential crisis. Like being black, you're automatically a victim. And that happens because of public schooling. We learn so much about slavery, they imprint that in our mind as we're growing up. So then when somebody says, oh my gosh, like George Floyd, like you better get out there, black people instinctually do that. And so I understand very much why Jewish Americans after October 7th felt the way that they felt, because in that same way, the imprint for them is the Holocaust, right? We learned so much about that in school. There's so many movies about it. Same for slavery, so many movies about it in Hollywood.
And it's understandable that, seeing anybody get dragged from a rave into a tunnel is a crazy, horrible thing that everybody would, it condemns and says is a horrible thing.
100%. And that's like you always get the initial reaction. Like I completely forgive and excuse that. And there's no one that I would say.
And like after 9/11, this country went around and did a lot of things that I don't think made us safer, and in fact put us in a bad position financially.
And we gave up our freedoms to do that.
We tortured a lot of people that were innocent. We killed a lot of people that were innocent.
We have to take our belts off at TSA now.
We have to take our belts off at TSA,
shoes off,
all of that
and we're
stuff.
innocent.
And we didn't do anything.
We didn't do anything, and now we get treated like
also
criminals.
A lot of soldiers, gave their lives in. So I think it's there's an understandable rage and reaction that people have, but from our own history, you can see that it did go too far.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing now. Is like we now have the first time as like Generation 9/11, as I refer myself to slow things down after a big event happens, and
Yeah.
to before we get ourselves in those circumstances again, we can slow down and go, what are we actually doing here? Who actually benefits? Nothing made sense after 9/11. We were told that Saudis were on the plane,
Right.
and we didn't go to war with Saudi Arabia.
Right.
We then went to war with Iraq
Threat
because
level
we were
was
told
orange and then red.
yeah,
and
the
then
weapons of mass
right,
destruction. They never
yellow.
found the
Yeah.
weapons of mass destruction. Then we went into Afghanistan. Nothing
Yeah.
made sense.
No.
And so what this actually was we were going to go to war no matter what. They needed to justify. They needed the public to get on their side about it. And that's how I feel about what's happening right now, is that war with Iran has already been decided upon. And they're just
Where
playing
is Trump
a game.
in this? Where is the Trump administration?
I mean, my understanding is that Trump would like a diplomatic resolution, but the neocons want war. And unfortunately, there's a lot of neocons in Trump's cabinet. And I think that's when you're speaking about that push-pull and what's going on with Pete Hegseth. And what's happening is that there are people who are genuinely, I mean, from what we heard, Tulsi Gabbard and Pete Hegseth, and there was one other person who stopped us from attacking Iran or whatever it was. They are the reason that we're not at war with Iran today. But everyone else wants to go to war because it's already been decided upon. And so you have to kind of wake up the American people. When I say American, I'm talking Jewish American, just American, guys.
Right.
Like, stop seeing yourself as black, white, Jewish.
Right.
Like, we need to recognize what's happening here because very few people benefit from this perpetual state of war. Whether we're talking about Ukraine, Israel, very few people at the tippity top are actually benefiting from the war machine.
No,
it's not you and me.
It's something that I woke up to. We're maybe similar ages. I'm 40. I don't know. I don't know if you talk about your age. You don't have to.
Oh, I do. I talk about my age. I'm 35.
Okay, so you're.
But my birthday's on Tuesday, so I want you to make sure you get me something.
Happy birthday! I absolutely will.
Yeah, thank you.
I absolutely will. Get her a subscription to the Free Press. Now,
Very wise.
Now,
Don't even get me
did
started.
she tweet my special? I tell Barry, I go, if you want me to support whatever you're doing over there, I need more than a free tote bag. I like Barry, but I said, I want to read her article. She gave me a free subscription to the Free Press. Her article wasn't included. I had to upgrade. So I'm just saying, not anti-Semitic, just what it is. But here's what I'll say. We learned this. We watched our friends go to war in Afghanistan and Iraq and die, and we watched a lot of people. We watched the 10 counties around Washington, D.C. become the wealthiest counties in America. They don't have significant natural beauty. They don't have tons of resources. It wasn't the location of Wall Street or Hollywood or the country music capital. It wasn't any of that. It was just, kind of humdrum, plain Jane suburbs that surrounded this nucleus of power, McLean, Virginia, Langley, Virginia.
Why?
I
Why are
wonder
they so
why they're-
rich?
Right. So they got really rich, and veterans came back and had no health care. Veterans came back and their suicide rates were off the charts. Veterans came back and couldn't get housing. They were ignored. They were put on ice. And then we watched tons of people that worked in, military adjacent fields, the defense industry, things like that, become incredibly wealthy. And that, to me, I feel like was a lesson that a lot of people in my generation learned.
And that's what I'm saying. Our generation did learn that, and
I
that's
feel like
why we're vocal.
A lot of people are unlearning it.
And for the first time, and I'm very optimistic about it because obviously I wouldn't have a platform if what I was
Right.
saying, if the press was to be believed, I wouldn't have a platform. I mean, they've called me every name possible in the book, gone after my family, gone after my job, gone after my career. But at the end of the day, my sons are not going to grow up and fight in your shitty little war. And that's where I'm
Right.
at. I'm on some mom stuff right now. And
Yeah.
you're not going to mess with the mama bear, okay? I'm going to speak the truth unapologetically. I don't really care about your feelings. I don't really care about like a mean tweet from like Meghan McCain. And I understand why she loves war. She's her family's one of the benefactors of war. I get it. I get the
Right.
neocon class. You guys are rich because people in the South who are poor, our sons are dying in your wars. I get it. I really do.
I
But you
dressed
make
up
me
as
sick.
her years ago, and she still holds it against me.
I'm not kidding, her and Ben Dominic, I sent one tweet and it's been 7 years or 4 years, and they haven't let it go. I mean, and it was a really honest tweet that I put out there. I was offending Joe Rogan when she was saying during COVID when suddenly it was like the revenge of people who never took care of their health and they got the vaccine and then were like, you don't care about health. And she
Right, it was
went after
crazy.
Joe Rogan, and she's like, Joe Rogan's an idiot who doesn't care about health. And I was like, no one should be listening to Meghan McCain.
No.
And she never let it go.
No, people get in their feelings and stay there.
Yeah. I want to be forgiven.
Yeah. I mean,
So many people that just don't like me.
Well, I
So
mean,
sad.
this is part of the thing,
So sad, Tim.
part of the game.
But I'm real sad.
Yeah.
Life insurance can help someone's family if they were to pass away. The traditional insurance process is very complicated, but Ethos has made it fast and easy. I got a quote from Ethos and I signed up immediately. With Ethos, you can get a free quote and customize a rate that fits your budget. You can get up to $3 million in coverage. Some policies as low as $2 a day billed monthly. Lock in your rate today since premiums can go up as you age. This is very serious. No matter what, if you have children, a wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, you care about anybody, you've got anything, you need life insurance. You need to not leave the people that you love in the lurch. You need to make sure that you are covered for as little as $2 a day, and they bill it monthly. You can put together a plan so your family has the money, and this is a very big deal. Same day coverage without even leaving your house. As of March 2025, Business Insider named Ethos the #1 no medical exam instant life insurance provider. 3 million families have completed their applications and trusted Ethos to find the right coverage. Ethos has 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot with over 2,400 reviews. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get a free quote today, ethos.com/Tim. That's ethos.com/Tim.
What I find fun about a lot of this stuff, when you're talking about these things, you enjoy what you do.
I love it.
You like what you do.
Mm-hmm. I really do.
I like what I do. Like,
I sleep at night
Yeah.
knowing that I'm saying something that I actually believe.
you're not afraid of people you disagree with.
Mm-mm.
I don't think you strike me as someone who needs to be siloed in a thing where they never engage with. You seem to engage with a fair amount of people who, disagree with you.
I love it.
You don't
I
mind
want to
it,
have my
yeah.
mind change. I don't want to be in a box and hearing myself speak. This is why I love even what I do now, because I tell people to be a part of the investigation and
Yeah.
they send me things. And I love that my platform now has so many people that were on the left before.
Yeah.
When I was at the Daily Wire, it was really kind of exclusively conservative. And now
Right.
it seems, since I guess I'm giving more of just me.
Yeah,
That there's
I think
people
there's a
on
lot.
both sides.
There's also multitudes. Everyone contains multitudes. There's people that are, I think people called me liberal friends that I have. I live in New York. I lived in LA. A lot of my friends are liberal. Most of them are wealthy. I spend most of the time with people whom I use for things, and a lot of them happen to be liberal. And I tolerate their personalities because of the homes they have. And
The boats.
yeah, you gotta,
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
You got to get out to Montauk in the summer.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, I'm going to tolerate this for nothing. Let's get on a boat. Tell me about it on a boat. Tell me about the non-binary kid on a boat. Now,
It's so much more understandable on a
look
yacht.
at the wind. You can't even hear.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this, and I love my liberal friends. I love my conservative friends. I'm like in this weird miasma in the middle. I don't know what I am. I believe in, I believe in pedophile cults and lizard people. I think I'm a centrist. That's centrist now. So that was a big tweet I had many years ago. But I think that you have a lot of liberals calling me going, Candace Owens. I'm fucking listening to Candace Owens. They go, she made all these points about this thing. And they're going, because I think a lot of people are sleepwalking. And it's not always their fault. They got kids and did this and did that, and they got a job. And they're like, they're just, they're getting battered. Like when you're landing in a plane and it's turbulent and you're just getting battered and you're getting hit. I think that's what a lot of people are in life with so many responsibilities and things. And they're getting battered by information. This guy's bad. This one's good. This is a rapist. This is the president of France. He got engaged to this woman. She was 40 and he was 14, but it was sweet.
Yeah.
That one was sweet.
Beautiful.
This guy was a Hollywood movie producer. He's the devil. Yeah. And I think people just go, okay, sure. What? Left, right, And what I think you've done is kind of reset the table a little bit.
Yeah, and I've also just put them in the pilot seat. That's the thing.
Yeah.
When you're on autopilot like that, who's actually driving this car. And I think it's been good that the trust in the media has been fractured. That had to happen first. And so much credit, by the way, is very much due to Johnny Depp for that.
Yeah.
That was a moment, I think,
Yeah.
because people really got to see up close how easily the press could just turn someone into a villain or a victim.
Yeah.
Or at least I think that really mattered for a lot of the women that were on the left, because they were really vocal about Me Too. And so we're kind of at this interesting moment where they don't necessarily believe the media anymore. And also the biggest contributor thereafter was COVID.
Right.
Like some people rerouted their entire lives, became like COVID Nazis, ended friendships, only to find out that they were being lied to. And they thought they really trusted the media, they trusted the experts. And so the thing about being a liar is that once you are exposed as a liar, you can't then just be like, just kidding. Like,
right. Now I'm
back to being a truth teller.
Yeah, and that was so. For
I
me,
know
it
your
was,
grandma died alone,
Yeah.
but I was just that's the old me. This is the
for
new
us,
me.
It was the 9/11 response and all of that. Our generation, didn't ever trust the government the same way again after that. After weapons of mass destruction, Dick Cheney, and this, that, and the other thing. And then I think for a lot of people growing up, it was COVID. And I think it's about trying to, retain a sense of, because there is a lot of information, and I think it melts people's minds. So I think it's about like, kind of trying to stay sane while processing a lot of this.
Yeah, and you go through that. You go through a period
Yeah.
of cognitive dissonance once you accept everything as it is, and then suddenly you're like, whoa, what is going on? You do have to suffer that. Like, you do have to recognize that it is plausible that everything that you thought wasn't. I went through that phase. Fortunately, it was before I had a platform when I kind of was like, wow, I really believed the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
I mean, I really believed the New York Times, and I really believed the Washington Post, and suddenly I realized that these people are all working for somebody. And, once you get through that and you have enough humility to admit that you're wrong, and a lot of people don't possess this, but like you are all capable of being wrong.
Right.
And it's good to just get through that process very quickly.
And then judge things on its
Yeah.
merits.
And then you feel more confident because you start investigating things yourself. Like you're going,
Right.
okay, I hear what you're saying, but I also want to hear the other side of what the other people are saying. And then I want to do my own research and figure out what's actually right and what's actually wrong. And I think that's why we are starting to see a lot of people come to the center. And I love it. I think it is really great that people are coming more to the center.
And I think people are looking, nuances coming back, complexity.
Yeah. Like, did you really believe that I was like anti-black? I used to read my Wikipedia page and it was amazing. I was horrified.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, I would never sit with this girl.
We had you on in 2020. We had you on in 2020. I had you on my podcast in 2020.
People were angry at you.
And people got really angry with me. And I said, we wanted to platform a marginalized woman of color. And then it was Candace Owens. I thought, fun bet. And Candace came on and was great. And then people got really tight. And people were like, I cannot believe that.
I know.
I was like, I don't know, man.
I was called anti-black. We were in a weird time.
I was like, I just don't see the value in like not engaging with people. And I think that I felt like we put that aside after this period of insanity, this moral panic that we were in. And I think a lot of people, and that doesn't mean you're going to agree with everybody on everything. You won't. People are individuals. But I do think that you are going to be more open to certain things than you were. And I think it's not going to be as easy. People aren't lining up on the left or the right as neatly as they did,
And
And
the people that are in power don't like that.
They
It
don't
used to
like
be
that.
very easy. I mean, the amount of hit pieces that have been written about me this year, it's
Yeah.
insane. Like,
Right.
I've just been literally pregnant in my basement. I don't know
Right.
what is happening, but they're worrying about that because they need to keep us warring with one another. And when they start to see that people are opening themselves to at least listening, this is why they're so angry about Joe Rogan,
Right.
Theo Von. I mean,
Right.
You put Theo Von on your
Well,
list
I've done
of
all these things to promote my special, and CNN and Fox and all these places have asked me, do you guys consider yourselves a new establishment? And I'm like, all right, so 19 intelligence agencies, the full force of the federal government, the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post, the New York Times, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, all the Ivy League schools, the Council on Foreign Relations, all of these different organizations, public, private, all these groups. versus 4 podcasters? No, I don't think we're the new establishment. I think that's a very silly way to put it. I think you ran an unpopular candidate on a platform that America didn't want child sex changes and an open border. And you went hard on those issues and you wouldn't move an inch on open border and child sex changes. And I think Americans rendered a verdict on that. I don't think it was. And you also tried to run a dead guy and then replace him with an unpopular vice president who no one, we didn't even know.
No.
And she ran on a platform of joy. So you could blame it on Theo Von and Joe Rogan or Andrew Schultz. You can blame it on anyone you want. I had the VP. Nobody blames it on me. I had Vance. No one cared. I read all the articles. I'm like, yeah, they're gonna. And they're all like, it's never me. I'm like, but I had Vance. But no one cared. But it's never me. I never get the flack. They're always it's always everyone else.
They're going to come for you now.
This is, that's a good point. That's a good point. But this is a morning show. I do think if it was a sane country, we would have a morning show.
I agree.
It would be a good morning show.
I don't know who we need to pitch this to. But this works for America.
Yeah. We need
Candace and Tim.
That's right. I'll do that. Yeah. I'll do that. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, the only person we need to pitch it to, and his name is Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey Weinstein, once I get him out of prison. I mean, that guy, you give him credit. Every amazing movie.
If he gets out of prison, this show's a reality.
Yeah, it's a reality.
Candace Owens, everyone, where can they find you?
Everywhere. Honestly. Yeah, I'm going on maternity leave. I'm about to drop a baby in a week. But after that, my YouTube. You find me on Spotify, Apple, YouTube.
I'm so happy we did this before that because I know you're going on a maternity thing.
Yeah, I'm going on a maternity thing, Yeah. And I can't keep away, though. I'll be watching. I'll be lurking. I'll know what everybody's doing and what they're up to. But
I know.
I'm definitely going to come back if anything happens in the Blake and Ryan lawsuit.
When there's a Malibu mom talking about banning food dyes, Candace is always near.
I'm there. I am there.
Candace Owens, everyone, thank you again.
You are so welcome.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tim Dillon Show post-Thanksgiving extravaganza. I hope you and your family had a nice time. I do. We kid around a lot on this show, and we talk about some very dark things. But I hope you and your family had a good time at Thanksgiving. Because you know what most families are doing right now instead of having Thanksgiving? And I'm actually a little disturbed by this. Most families they're doing away with the turkey and they're just having sex with each other. Most families in this country are having sex with each other. Is that right? Is that nice? I don't think it is. Most families are meeting up to have an orgy instead of Thanksgiving dinner, where you would have a sweet potato, something like that. They're meeting up to have sex in the living room for hours. 4 hours with each other. That's incest, it's pedophilia, there's other philias. So I'm just saying, to those of you who are celebrating the old-fashioned way, by eating a meal with your family and not fucking them in the living room. And it's not just, it's a different lifestyle. Don't judge our holiday tradition. That's what one of my friends said. I said, what do you and your family do? He goes, we all have sex. I go, that's sick. He goes, don't judge our holiday tradition. Can you believe that? He said that. Don't judge our holiday tradition. I like having sex with my own mother on Thanksgiving. In front of my brother. We take turns on our mother. All right, anyway. Let's talk about tariffs. By the way, I excused myself from my own Thanksgiving. I left. And I'm not going to do a whole thing where I go into it, but I'm just going to give you the cliff notes because you do listen to the program, and they were insulting you. They actually attacked the listeners of this show. And listen, here's the thing. I understand people are upset about the outcome of the election. That is complete. You are within your rights to be upset. You are within your rights to be worried or nervous or apprehensive about what's coming down the pike. There are things that I may not agree with. I don't agree with anybody all the time. So I'm just handling things like an adult. I'm an adult. And I don't think that Donald Trump is going to destroy the country. But if he does, I will move to Tuscany. I've said that before. I've said I'll go to Tuscany. People think they corner me. They're like, what if he ruins the whole country? I go, I already want to go to Tuscany, even if it's fine. I kind of am getting excited about Tuscany. Have you gone on Instagram and seen Tuscany where you have the pool and it's the Green Hills? Now, so the point is, my father's wife, they're very liberal people. And I don't mean very liberal like liberal. I mean like they have dogs named Freddie, Maya, and Ruth. And the dogs are named after Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Maya Angelou, and Frederick Douglass, the freed slave. My father chases a Bichon around the house named after Frederick Douglass, the slave. And him and his wife think it's okay. Okay? That's the Cliff Notes on who we're dealing with, just in case you're accusing me of being from Maya Angelou, who's a black woman, person, poet, who they've named a Shih Tzu after. They're sick. I'm sorry, it's a disease. Political extremism is a disease. I have to call it out if it's in my own family. And I love them. But it's a disease. If I was sitting around Thanksgiving and everybody had a burqa on, I'd go, what's going on here? I'd call that out. Ditto if everyone was in the Klan or whatever. I'm just saying you're naming the dog. Wasn't Frederick Douglass, wasn't he the escaped slave?
That's right.
You don't know. We have a substitute producer whom I adore, but you have no idea if that was the escaped slave. And I think it was, right? Isn't it?
I think he was the first black man in the White House. I think that's true.
But am I calling him a slave for no reason? Because that's where I'm going to get into trouble.
No.
Didn't he? He was a slave. He started out. Why did my father and his wife get him up on Wikipedia now, please? This is a show that people are watching with their families. Frederick Douglass. He was an abolitionist. Let's see what was going on here. Yes, he escaped from slavery. I know what I'm doing. Why do I second guess myself and waste precious time? My father and his wife have a dog named after this escaped slave. Is that right? Is that okay? Is that not sick? There's a level of political that you get sick. And all they talk about is these dogs. All boomers care about right now is dogs. Have you noticed this? Boomers could not be bothered with their children. They couldn't be bothered with their any boomer ever, if you ask them about their kids, I gotta cart them off to karate and then dance and then swim practice, football. It never ends. When do I have time to sit in the house and drink? They never cared at all for their children. But I think as they're nearing, thankfully, the grave, they realize they should care for something on this earth besides themselves. And it is a dog. This is anyone who has a boomer parent kind of knows this. And it's not that we don't love them, by the way. This is just we've accepted. We all accept. As the boomers are careening towards the cliff and their own mortality, which, by the way, I will say from meeting them at my mother's funeral, they are taking it in stride. Like, millennials are terrified, up Googling rare diseases. How does it end? Will I have done enough? Zoomers are just so, everything's death with them. I mean, the school shootings, they're mired in death. They're nihilistic. It's the guy next to them's foaming at the mouth on fentanyl and meth. They're really bleak, the Zoomers. But the boomers are very interesting because they really are marching towards death in kind of a very calm and peaceful way. They came, they saw, they conquered. They came to a planet and destroyed it, and now they're ready to leave. And so, but before they leave, they want to love one thing outside of themselves, and it is dogs. Every older boomer I know has gotten a new dog and keeps calling their child to tell them about the dog, how amazing the dog is, how life-changing it's been to have a dog. Oh, we're at the dog beach. We love the dog. You got to see the way this dog relates to the other dog. These are people who they're more concerned when their dog starts choking than they were when their kid was hit by a car. This is true. And So they have these dogs. They bring everywhere. When they go somewhere, they bring dogs. They set up cages. They bring 3 dogs. They live an hour from me. They get dog cages and dogs. Dogs are running around the house. They're shitting in a house. The dogs that I don't have and don't want and don't care about. Little Shih Tzu, Bichon, not cool. It's not like Huskies in St. Bernard. It's not an Irish setter. We're talking little pieces of shit, little rats. Little rats named after escaped slaves. Okay? They come over 48 hours early. They come over on Wednesday for Thanksgiving, Wednesday afternoon, to do cooking. His wife wants to do cooking. She doesn't do any cooking. She brings over food and heats it up. There's no cooking. I get depressed with what's going on now with the holidays. Don't offer to cook if you're not cooking. Sorry. Just don't do it. I'll have it catered, something. Don't offer to cook if you're not cooking. It's rude. It's disrespectful. It's wrong. And a lot of people are bothered by it. Don't go to the grocery store and get a bunch of shit and heat it up. I could do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's wrong. It's disrespectful. My family, we come from a great tradition of great restaurants. And my uncle has been so kind to us and he's been so good to us because he's in the restaurant business. And my grandmother was an amazing cook and would cook. She would she'd Frederick Douglass over the stove for hours, mashing potatoes and chopping celery and carrots and making homemade stuffing. So if you're going to cook, that's kind of what I expect, not getting a bunch of stuff and heating it up. Sorry, not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Okay? Love and light. Again, love and light. Love and light. Peace, love, light, holiday spirit. No problems. Just you show up with food in a crate that you heat up. It's disgusting. And then you complain that you're cooking. It's like, this is how psychotic these people are. They're psychopaths. They're psychopaths. And again, not negative, but if you're claiming that you're cooking and you're not cooking and you're talking that you're cooking, you're a psychopath. It would be like if I was talking about working out all day. If I came in and I just got in from a run, somebody would call that out and go, but no one saw, when were you running? No one saw this. And it would be like if everyone in the house was like, good for you running. What route you take? Where'd you go? You go up 27, you make a left. Instead of someone going, what running have you done in your life? But she's talking about cooking like it's happening. This is what's bothering me. This is what's bothering me. Can I be honest? Yes or yes? She's talking about cooking like it's happening. My father is talking to his slave dog, who he's chasing around the backyard with the Maya Angelou and the Ruth Bader Ginsburg and the Underground Railroad of the Canine Underground Railroad that they got running through the backyard. My house in the Hampton. Now, which they had to come to. I would have gone to theirs, but they had to come to mine. They love it, love it, love it. They want to come to my house. I didn't want them. Don't want them. Love them, but no one needs house guests. I'm 39, going to be 40 soon. Nobody wants house guests. Nobody wants it. I'm telling you right now, when someone says, why don't you come over? They don't mean it. If they're 20, they mean it. They don't mean it at 40. They don't want you there. They do not want you there. They want you there for a dinner, not a sleepover. This is not a frat party. Nobody's roofing anybody, okay? This is not a bring out the Narcan and let's have fun. This is come over for dinner and then get to step in. Remember the great show Martin with Martin Lawrence? He had some issues with Tisha Campbell, but it doesn't matter. He had a great show and he used to throw everyone out of his house, and I understand and respect that. So my father's out there with his slave dog, and then a wife, who's a lovely lady, but she keeps talking about cook. I'm cooking all day. So hard to cook. She has crates from a market. My cousin and her went to the market and they got all this food that she's heating up in an oven. They bought a turkey. It's all fake. The stuffing is Pepperidge Farm. It's fake. This is the way people eat in trailer parks. This is the way people eat in and by the way, if you're in a trailer park, God bless you. I'm not going at you because we're going to get to elitism shortly. And I'm not that guy. I love trailer parks. My point is this. This is the way people eat in a trailer park. People in trailer parks are agreeing with me. Pepperidge Farm stuffing. That ain't it. That ain't it. You ate better than that yesterday, and you were with a bunch of people that weren't even white, right? Correct. So she brings over this is a lady who, God bless her, but this is a woman who one time for my birthday served me Tostitos scoops. Me and my friend came over to her house. Remember the Tostitos scoop? Food can be a thing to show love to someone, but it's also a way to spit on them. It's a way to spit on someone and show them that you hate them. Or you're jealous of them or whatever. I don't know. You hate them or whatever. I don't know what the problem is. I have to guess. I should have been in the street dead. They wanted me in the street on junk. And I'm in the Hamptons. They don't love that. They'd rather me be dead. They'd want me. They wish every Thanksgiving they went to a grave with me in it. Okay? That's what they want. No offense. Now, what was I talking about? What was I saying? I was making a point about, was it a little pudding? A scoop.
Tostito scoops.
Yeah, the scoop. I have something to say about sticky toffee pudding later, but that's later. The Tostito scoop. So my birthday one year, when I wasn't doing well, by the way, when they called me once a year, when I wasn't doing well, they had me over for my birthday because they probably by accident found out it was my birthday. And I came over and I went with Ray Kump, and me and Ray Kump went to the house and we were stunned. We were stunned. She served Tostitos scoops, and the scoop, and then with some loose beef and heated up cheese, but it was crazy bad. Me and my friend Melanie went once. She had ham sandwich, but cold. Me and you went recently, and it was cold chicken cutlets that were in the refrigerator that she cubed up like they were going to be served to Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the dog. Everything was freezing. It is not, if you cannot cook, stop cooking. Don't cook. We're not here to delude you. I'm not out there talking about my flair with jujitsu, that I'm great at it. Oh, my friends are. A lot of my friends are good at it, but I'm not doing that. You know why? I don't do jujitsu. I'm not good at it. So I don't say I'm good at it. I'm not lying, and I don't want it to be accepted. When someone says something that's blatantly untrue, I don't have the emotional investment in propping up your lies and your bullshit. So, but here's the problem. I'm not going to be insulted in my own home. I'm not going to have the audience of this show insulted, and I'm not going to have my friends insulted. Okay? I don't care that you're unhappy with the election. That's not my fault. I told you I'd put you in a good cell. I told you I'd get you a good cell and a hearing. I'll get you a hearing, but I'm not making promises. Her parents come in. These are very, very liberal people, which I think is great. I have so many friends of all different political persuasions. I'm friends with everyone. Communists, capitalists, libertarians, radical Jews, Nazis, black Israelites, all my friends. It's America. It's 2025. We have a communal table where everyone's welcome. That's what I want at Thanksgiving, of all the types. She's there, daughter's there. Daughter's an environmental lawyer. They don't talk, these people, either. They don't say anything. They just sit silently. And then my dad will say something, and then her daughter will be like, "You like RFK?" My dad's like, "I like some of the things he says." So it's that energy. It's that energy. In my house. It's my home. It's my home. Don't insult RFK in my home. He's my friend. It's true. And you're actually allied with RFK because you made a bunch of food no one could eat. It was the healthiest Thanksgiving I've ever had. So her parents come in and they start in. First of all, I make a plate. I refuse to eat the food. I sit down at the table. It's unedible. It's cold and it's unedible. I won't do it. Life is too short. I'm 39. People I know are going through horrible things. Some of them are not. I don't really know anyone going through a horrible thing. This is my point. I don't even know why I'm saying that. But the point is this. My point is that there are people out there going through all kinds of things. Life is too short for this bullshit. It's too short. If your family cannot accept you, you have to just find a way to just live and let live. And not everybody has to love everybody all the time. And not everybody has to be in everyone's face. And it's not negative. There's no baggage with it. But if you cannot sit through a dinner without going off on the election and losing your mind, then I can't have you at the home. I'm sorry. It's rational. You have to behave like a rational adult. And I feel for these people on the left, man, because they don't understand why they lost. They still don't get it. It's because the only thing you people have left is a smug sense of superiority, and most people would rather die than agree with you. They'd rather give up their rights and walk into the fire than spend 5 minutes with you because you cunts are so smug and superior, and it's based in nothing. It's based in the fact that you went to a fucking 4-year college and someone stamped a fucking degree on a piece of paper so you can sit at a big Fortune 500 firm and lecture everybody else about trannies. Shut up. It's Thanksgiving. Cook the food, it's cold. I don't give a shit. I'm sick of this crap. I'm a literal faggot. Do you understand? Suck cock faggot. I don't care about this queer model. All you white chicks are queer. It's fake. It's all fake. Chapel Roan's probably not a lesbot. That kid in Heart, whatever it is on Netflix, he ain't a faggot either. The kid Connor, they're lying about everything. It's fine. It's fine. I would lie too. Keep lying. The public doesn't deserve honesty. But don't come and lecture me. Tell me you're queer and you found out 5 minutes ago that you're queer and you're dating a guy and now you know everything about the struggle or whatever the hell you think you're in. Whatever movie you think you're the lead character in. It bothers everybody, okay? If you can't make it through a dinner without misbehaving like a dog, you must go. You have to eat outside. That's all. This is advice. Life is too short. If people are going to insult you and your friends and everybody else, and they're going to be miserable, and they're going to sit there and be doom and gloom and misery and fill your life with misery because they're miserable and they're upset and they want to. So here's what happened. I'm going to tell you what happened. I wasn't going to even discuss it. I wasn't going to discuss it, but I have to discuss it. I have to discuss it because this is not me and my life. This is you and your life and everyone's life. By the way, over the next few months, this is not rare. This will not be rare and it will not be new. You will experience this and it's okay. Okay? It's okay. I'm telling you how to deal with this. Get in your Bentley and go to the diner. I'm telling you right now. I'm sitting there at my table eating cold food that was not cooked. It was heated up, but not heated up. It was out on the table at 10:30 a.m. It was out at the table at 10:30 in the morning, and then the turkey was finished at 5. I was invited to the Kennedy house. I didn't go. I didn't go to have Thanksgiving with Bobby and Cheryl so that I could sit here with these liberals and their cold food and their scowls and their dogs named after slaves. How dare they? That's not appropriate. That's not okay. That's not allowed. Do you think black people would feel good if they said, meet my dog, it's named after Frederick Douglass, and the other one's named after Maya Angelou? Is that all right? Is that allowed? It's a disease. You people have a disease. We're sitting at the table. I've made a plate. I cannot eat it because it's cold and the food is disgusting. My cousin's eating it. God love her. God bless her. But she also says this is disgusting food. But she's trying to put on weight. So we're sitting at the table, and this woman's parents are there, and they start going, so who listens to your podcast? What's the demographics? Do they have college degrees? Are they college educated? The people that listen to your podcast? I go, yeah, a lot of them are. I said, I don't really give a fuck. And instead of like flying off the handle going, they paid for the house you're sitting in right now. The people that listen to the show and that come see me do stand-up and all this shit. But I knew where they were going. This is all they have left, by the way. All they have left is this. By the way, once all of these people are thrown in the street, burned like the witches they are, the Democrats can get new people and then can be a viable party again. And I think we need a two-party system. But you have to burn the witches. You have to burn the witches. One of the people there, this woman's daughter said to me, she goes, do you spend a lot of time in the Hamptons during the winter? I said, no. She goes, why? I said, because it's cold and dark and there's nobody around and nothing's open. She goes, well, I would like that. I go, oh, good, but that's the life of a witch. That's the way a witch lives, in the woods, all alone in the dark. I don't want that. It's Thanksgiving. No demons, no demonology, no Satanism. Thank you. That's all I'm asking. Is that too much to ask? Hot food, no Satanism, please. Thanks. Now, I'm at the table, and they start in. The level of education, and how many people listen to this? And I go, well, we get well over 1 million every week. Millions, lots. Well, do they have college education? Are they college educated? And they kept hammering this. And I knew where they were going, and I know what they're doing. And this is what they are convinced, that the fake thing they set up, where you, by the way, it's amazing to see liberals defend the war industry, the pharmaceutical industry, and the toxic food industry. It's amazing to watch them defend all those. Now they're also defending the importance of the college slush funds, Sally Mae scam, where people are tricked into taking out $200,000 loans to get degrees in communications from the new school, Binghamton, Newhouse, whatever. And so I'm sitting there, and all they have left is this sense of status that has been bestowed on them by a school. And to me, the most interesting people I've ever met in my life, some of them have been college educated, some of them haven't. Some of the smartest people I've ever met, I'm not college educated. A lot of my friends dropped out of college. A lot of my friends, I have friends that went to Harvard. So to me, it is not about that at all. It's not about that. But there is this very weird thing where the Democrats are running around going, everyone that has college degrees voted for us, and everyone who didn't's an idiot. And all the people that we pretend to care about, like the workers and minorities that are working at in labor and in the service sector, and all the people that we care about, that we don't actually care about them, we think they're idiots. They're actually idiots. And we like college-educated people. So it need not apply. If you don't have a college degree, I guess you don't need to apply. They don't want to speak to you because you're not going to understand their gender gobbledygook, or you're not going to understand why the Ukraine needs another $1 trillion, by the way. You're too dumb. You're too dumb to understand how men can get pregnant. That's only for really smart scientific people that have graduated a 4-year university, okay? You mouth breather, you don't get it. You don't get why Israel needs another $90 billion to put the Palestinians on skewers and then make a little kebabs out of all the Palestinian children, which is what they're doing. But you won't get it. So they start in on that stuff. They start in on it. And I because my father's there, I'm not going to be a dick. I said, listen, I text my cousin, I go, get your stuff. I excused myself. I went upstairs, I got my stuff. I had brought 2 pies from the Jericho Cider Mill, apple crumb pies. I stole them on the way out, and I took them out through the garage into the Bentley. I put my cousin in, and we got out. Then we went to my other cousin's house. We had a lovely Thanksgiving with his mother, whom we adore and love. But I'm not, and I didn't make a scene at all. I just said, we have to go. It was a little startling. It was abrupt. I said, we have to go to prepare for the new regime. I did say that. I did say we must prepare for the new regime. I'm not going to sit here while they insult people. It is really the shittiest thing in the world to go to somebody's house and try to insult them and say, you're an idiot, and the people you talk to are idiots. You're allowed to feel that way. Feel that way from your own house, which isn't in my neighborhood. Feel that way any way you want. Feel that way when you lose another 5 swing states. Maybe you lose, you lost a popular. Now every article's like, well, we didn't really lose that much. It wasn't that big of it. You lost every swing state, and the guy won the popular vote. You lost the Senate, and you lost the House. You lost it all. Well, it actually wasn't that bad. So I'm just saying, if people cannot conduct themselves appropriately, you do not have to have them in your home. I spent a long time in my life believing that to be a good person, you had to tolerate people's behavior just because you knew them. And these aren't even family members. These are extended family, married in. This is not nuclear. It's not blood. These are these divorced families that don't really work, by the way. Some of them do. A lot of them don't. Okay? A lot of them just don't. When you're at a Thanksgiving, you don't know who the hell's who. It's not ideal. Pass the gravy, stranger. But I'm just saying, if you're gonna insult Rogan and all these people and say this and that, you gotta go. You gotta go. We don't need you here. We don't need you here. I could have been at the Kennedys. Grandma attacks family, stabs daughter during Thanksgiving argument. Well, I didn't go in this direction, but I could have. 55-year-old Memphis grandmother arrested for Thanksgiving melee. Police say grandma was heavily intoxicated before stabbing a granddaughter and hitting grandson. Let's listen to this. Let's see if Go back. We're going to start this again because I like these happy Thanksgiving stories because, by the way, it's not always going to be love and light and peace on earth and goodwill to men. Sometimes it's going to be get your blade and do what you will. And we have to love this country in all manifestations. And we have to love like that. We can't demand always a Thanksgiving where everyone's happy. Sometimes we have to demand a Thanksgiving where there is justice. Let's watch.
This all happened on Delta Road around 3 this afternoon. Fox 13 Sierra Jordan breaks down the moments leading up to this incident.
Police say a grandmother stabbed 2 of her family members after a verbal argument happened inside their home on Delta Road. The neighbors I spoke with were shocked to find crime scene tape blocking off their street as they were celebrating Thanksgiving with their loved ones.
And it's just kind of unfortunate to have to go through this on Thanksgiving Day.
James Stevens and his family were enjoying their Thanksgiving Day meal until they were interrupted by the sound of sirens coming from outside.
And we come outside to see all the yellow tape around. Got the street blocked off down there.
Those sirens were police responding to an aggravated assault at a home on Delta Road just after 3 p.m. Police say a woman and her mother were arguing about various things, including the suspect pushing her son. Then police say the grandmother attacked her with a knife she got from the kitchen. The victim suffered abrasions to her left hand. Just moments later, the suspect then struck her grandson with a knife in his left hand near his thumb. That is when the grandmother ran away from the scene before officers arrived.
The violence around Memphis is still very high. It's just, you have to watch yourself on every corner and right here in our own home and neighborhoods. Family getting together, family, friends, feasting. Never this.
Right, okay. Well, listen. I withhold judgment because I don't know what they did to that woman before she grabbed the knife. I have no idea what they did to her. Did they ask her about her college years? What did they do to her? You don't just pick up a knife. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying you don't just pick up a knife on Thanksgiving. You're driven to that. You're driven to picking up a knife. Okay? I'm not saying it's ideal. I'm just saying, hey, can we at least, I want to hear from the grandmother. Put the boom mic through the bars of the cell to talk to grandma. I want to know why grandma grabbed the knife on Thanksgiving and went nuts. People are pushed. Man. I'm telling you, you have to create a space in your life. What do they say, wicked? They go holding space or whatever. I'm holding space.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm holding space. What does that mean now? It's holding space for what?
So it's for the song Defying Gravity.
Yes.
So people are holding space with it. That's the context of the sentence.
What is the meaning of that?
I think it's up for interpretation.
It's like holding space for people that are marginalized? Is that what it is? Does anyone know? All right, I don't care that much, but I think it's one of those things where it's like holding space for people for people that have trauma, and people that want trauma. A lot of people want trauma in this country. Let's be honest. A lot of people where is trauma? I'm going for it. A lot of people want trauma in this country. They indulge in it. They roll around in it like a little pig, and they want it. And we have industries upon industries built on getting it out of them and then dousing them in it so they can never escape it. Museum of Ice Cream, near and dear to my heart, the Museum of Ice Cream. I love them. They are now being sued over the sprinkle pool because a weak father, this freak, he said he was injured jumping into the Soho sprinkle pool. I really dislike people, by the way, who ruin a good thing for everyone. Let me tell you exactly what this is, okay? In New York, which used to be the cultural epicenter of the world, but is now a large hatchet-throwing installation, as far as I can tell. That's what New York has become now, by the way. It's escape rooms and come throw the hatchet and, oh, look, it's Harry Potter on Broadway. It's hell here. It's become a hell. But it's a big Chase bank where you can throw the hatchet while they run your credit. That's what Manhattan has become. So in the middle of Manhattan, they decided to build something called the Museum of Ice Cream. And people go there and they jump in a sprinkle pool. This is what the greatest city in the world is doing, by the way. And these two news anchors are going to, with a straight face, okay, talk to you about the Museum of Ice. And by the way, and thankfully we now have the Raising Cane's global headquarters in Times Square. Everything they said the city was going to become, it is becoming. Let us watch this father who injured himself in the sprinkle pool at the museum, which my fat old agent took me to. Fatty Boombatty. God love her. She hates when I say things about her. She was a great agent. Love her. And she took me because she had a couple of Fatty Boombatties as clients, and we went to the Museum of Ice Cream. And the Museum of Ice Cream isn't great. Because here's the thing about Fatty Boombatties. They don't really give a shit. It's not like, hey, it's like, hey, where's the sample? No one cares that much. It's not Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory here. We don't give a shit. We want the ice. It's like the Ben and Jerry's tour. We don't care. Let's skip till the end. How about we go to the boutique? Let's skip till we go to the boutique, okay? We don't care about, yeah, they're communists. We get it. They're communists. They like mint. Great. Let's skip. Where's the scoop shop?
The sprinkle pool at the Museum of Ice Cream is now at the center of a lawsuit.
A father is claiming he was injured earlier this year when he jumped in. Christy Galician has the story from Soho.
It's not quite like jumping into a ball pit. The Museum of Ice Cream's sprinkle pool has a harder landing.
I saw a couple kids land pretty hard, so I'd be surprised if an adult would jump in there.
But that's what happened back in late March, according to a lawsuit filed by Jeremy Shore, who says he got hurt in that sprinkle.
Do pedophiles design everything? Is there anything not being designed by pedophiles, by the way? Is there any public art installation not being designed by pedophiles in this city? Well, what if it's a pool of sprinkles and all the kids jump in? That person should, from that suggestion, there should be a chute that opens and they go, and they go right into a cell, into jail. Right to jail. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Sprinkle pool when jumping in earlier this year while at the museum's Soho location with his daughter. The complaint cites an ankle fracture and, quote, severe and permanent personal injuries to his right leg, ankle, and other parts of his body, saying he needs surgery.
You should have seen that it's not that deep, so you should like put your foot in first at least and see it's like not that deep.
It's like this deep. You don't do that.
The pool here seems to be at about ankle, maybe mid-calf for a little kid. And they are hollow. There are these little thin plastic sprinkles here. Videos of other people jumping off the nearby diving boards were also included in the complaint, like this one where this woman says she sprained her leg and needed crutches, and another showing a woman falling
Why are you
flat
getting in? You're an adult. You're an adult. Stop that for a second. Why are, in God's name, are adults, and they didn't have this years ago when I went, why are they jumping into the sprinkle pool? Look at this retard. Look how stupid this person is. This is a grown-ass woman doing a cannonball onto a fucking floor with a foot of plastic sprinkles. Play that again. I can't get enough of it. That was like my Thanksgiving dinner. That's how it went, by the way, just like this. Boop. Why? Do you realize this? Number one, think of how stupid we are as a society now, that we even have a sprinkle pool. And that it needs to be regulated. That's how bad we are as a society, that there exists a thing called a sprinkle pool. You can't just eat ice cream. You got to jump in a pool of sprinkle. Now, by the way, I think this guy knew this was like this. I think he needed a lawsuit. I think this is a guy who goes, I'm fucked. I need to go jump in the sprinkle pool right now. I think he was sitting there talking to his wife, and he goes, I've been to that. I've taken our kids. I've seen a couple of people really injure themselves. I know how to get us out of this. I can get us out of it. They're sitting there. They're having a rough breakfast. She's going, we are fucked. We have about 4 months of expenses left, and then we are fucked. We've got nothing. He goes, all right. Listen, you're going to think it's crazy, but I'm going to go jump in the sprinkle pool at the Museum of Ice Cream and sprain my leg. We'll scare him. It'll get a lot of bad press. We'll settle out of court. 400,000 or 500,000, something to keep us alive here. John, that's ridiculous. I'm telling you, I've seen people. I saw some dumb bitch do a cannonball into it the other day. People are getting hurt. Really? Yes. I'm just saying I'm going to go there and really hurt myself. John, don't do any permanent damage. I got a doctor. He'll say I'm all fucked up. Really? Yes. I'm telling you. I mean, listen to this. The complaint, failing to have sufficient, proper, and adequate warnings about the dangers and risks of the sprinkle pool. Can you imagine this? Can you imagine being a grown man, a grown-up? People in the Ukraine are dying. People in Russia are dying in this 3-year bloody battle, right? People in Gaza are being lit on fire, okay? People in Israel got kidnapped from a music festival and ended up in a tunnel, okay? People all over my parents have dogs named after slaves. All of the problems in the world, and this guy is suing the Museum of Ice Cream because they have not sufficiently warned him about the dangers and risks of the sprinkle pool. Can you can never tell that story. I don't care how much money you get. You can never tell that story in mixed company again. Well, Joanna just got over cancer. Well, John actually injured himself have you been to the Museum of Ice Cream? He jumped in the sprinkle pool and hurt himself. He has tendon issues and kind of nerve issues, a lot of neuropathy. He's got a lot of pain. And I'm telling you right now, this is the most undignified thing I have maybe seen in 7 years of doing this show, is that a man has injured himself in the sprinkle pool. Here, let's finish this up. It's disgusting.
A lack of proper warnings about the risks of jumping in and how the museum has advertised the sprinkle pool as a place to plunge in.
Before entering the pool, patrons are told to take their shoes off. They're also told by this sign here, across from the little cubbies, not to run and not to dive, as well as not to eat the sprinkles. It's a little.
I really believe. I hope Trump, if he does anything, I hope he bans all of this. I hope he bans all of these experiences and he brings back just hookers and gambling. All of these experiences that people are getting into, these like viral marketing stunts, this hatchet throwing, these escape rooms, these weird, odd, like quasi, social experiment type. I want it all gone. It should not be in New York. Let it happen in other places. Let it happen somewhere else. I don't feel comfortable. And if it happens, let it be a pop-up. This thing's been there like a decade. Like, I'm uncomfortable with the level of banality and mediocrity that New York City is just churning out. All of this very like basic stuff for basic people, which is not what it was. The city was not intended to be a mall in the suburbs. It's not what it was intended to be. I mean, the fact that we have a sprinkle pool and we have these retards who don't know that they shouldn't dive into it, what's going on here? I don't like this. It's just becoming like silly. Because everyone that visits me, they go, oh my God, what is that bad? I go, it's the Helix. Okay? Think about this. November offer 25% off site-wide. 2 free Dream pillows with any mattress purchase. Free bedding bundle. 2 Dream pillow sheet set and mattress protector with any Luxe or Elite mattress order. The Midnight Deluxe is the one that I have. It's amazing. I'm telling you right now, you can take a small quiz on Helix, very quick. It'll tell you exactly the right mattress for you. I mean, it's amazing how good sleep can change your life. So many people have back pain. They can't find the right position. Maybe they're a side sleeper. They sleep on their back, whatever it is. Helix has a mattress for you if you sleep hot, cold, firm, soft, somewhere in the middle. I'm telling you, Helix is going to find the exact mattress for you, and you're going to love it. I have never been as sure of anything in my life. Go to helixsleep.com/TimD. helixsleep.com/TimD. Like a lot of people, my family are not the most tech savvy, so it seems weird to get them a tech-adjacent gift. But Aura's digital frame is actually perfect. That's because, yes, it's tech, but it's so easy. I'm into this. If you don't know what this is a picture frame, but it's digital, so it has different photos. Isn't that amazing? This is the new thing. And what it is you're sitting in the house and you're looking at, and then you turn your head and you go, it's another picture. And for a split second, you go, am I having a stroke? But you're not. It's actually several photos digitally loaded into this picture frame. And it's so exciting. It's a conversation piece. It's so easy to get started. But then once you do, the tech is incredible. I can upload photos right from my phone in just a click. It'll even pair photos together for me like 2 pictures of the same person or from the same day. There's no memory cards or USBs required. Oh, USBs, sorry. There's no memory cards or USBs required. There's a reason Wirecutter named it the #1 best digital photo frame. For a limited time, visit auraframes.com and get $45 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames by using promo code TIM at checkout. That's AURA frames.com, promo code TIM. This exclusive Black Friday Cyber Monday deal is their best of the year, so don't miss out. Terms and conditions apply. $45 off. Use code TIM. Shop Aura's Black Friday Cyber Monday sale. Exclusive $45 off Carver matte at auraframes.com. Use code TIM at checkout to save. This is one of the coolest gifts you can give anyone. I'm telling you, the holidays are coming up, and it's amazing. Give it to anyone. They'll love it. By the way, the Thanksgiving Day parade, I don't know what it's dark now. Something happened to this parade. Something's wrong with it. I don't know what it is, and it's not like the Disney is trying to make your kids gay or something. I'm not going in that direction. I'm just saying, like, the actual parade itself. Can you play some footage of it? I know they were in the rain. There's just, the magic is gone. I don't know what happened. Is this year? Yeah. Can you just pick a random spot and just play something? This is not good. It's dark. Something was off this year, and a lot of people agree with me. When you watch the parade, like, something was odd. It just didn't feel. What is that? What is that? What is that thing?
It's some sort of anime character.
What is happening? The balloons are scary now. What is that?
This is the Green Giant.
Why is it a thing? Isn't that the vegetable?
Yeah.
Something's wrong here. If I showed you this and this was the beginning of Batman and it was creepy and eerie, you would go, yeah. Am I totally wrong here to say that is it just the rain? Why is this person on stilts? There's something dark. Look at this. Listen, maybe I'm wrong and maybe I'm going crazy and maybe people that are listening to this are free to say that I've lost my marbles. There was something about the parade this year. Get some more of it up. There was something about it this year that I found very disconcerting. I didn't find it to be warm and wholesome and fun. And again, it's not because it was like the drag queen story hour float, although the Death Becomes Her was a little odd, but it's fine. What is this? The Kinder Bar chocolate float?
Yeah, it's a lot of brands.
It was all SpawnCon. It's all weird SpawnCon, and no one looks into it. Hey, SpongeBob, great. What is this? No one, I know it's raining, and maybe that explains it, but no one looks into this anymore. People look like this is like a Soviet era parade. This is like the military parades in Moscow people seem happier. This seems like people were conscripted and drafted into this. No one looks happy. They look like they're like, again, I've watched this every year since I'm a kid, and I just felt weird about it this year. There's something weird.
This is the marching band from Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
This is like their whole year, huh? They come to this rainy slum. And New York's the greatest city in the world. I don't mean it's a slum, but I just can't. I couldn't get into it this year, and I felt bad about it. Maybe I'm wrong. Homeless court in Florida. This is going to be really great. New program exchanges homeless crime sentences if defendants show they are taking measures to end their homelessness. I like this because here's what we're doing. Number one, Homeless Court is going to be the best news show on TV. Instead of just helping homeless people, making them show up to a court and kind of verbally joust with a Judge Judy type is really a good idea. Make the text bigger if you could. Because this is Orlando, Florida. Amid fears that a new state law criminalizes those who sleep outside, Central Florida leaders are coalescing around a diversion program to waive court sentences for people experiencing homelessness in exchange for pursuing treatment, housing, and employment. Such a program is called a homeless court and could apply to unsheltered residents who are frequently arrested for violations like public urination, disorderly conduct, or public sleeping. They often are unable to pay the associate fine, and arresting them only creates more barriers to getting back on their feet. Under some models of the program, a homeless court judge could drop charges if someone takes concrete steps to end their homelessness. This is a good idea. I think it's pretty cool. I like it. So the homeless show up to the court, and is it where we solve disputes between homeless people in the court? I like that too. If we find two homeless people that are fighting over something, a resource, we bring them in, and then like a Judge Mathis style, Judge Judy kind of gets to the bottom of it. There's something great about that. That idea of just because they're part of our society, they're having disputes. Homeless people are disputing things. That was my chair. Stuff like that. That should be adjudicated in a court of law. A homeless court can't provide shelter to those who need it. Central cities and Florida counties to face an urgent need to create more shelter beds, but it can help take advantage of the options that exist. Such a program would likely exist outside of a traditional courtroom, though it would still have a judge, a public defender, prosecutor, and other features of a typical legal practice. This is fucking great. Get it out, do it on the street. Have a fun homeless court. Build one with tires and chicken wire, and you build a podium with the homeless court should look like where homeless people live. It's ridiculous to put them in a court with like these big marble halls. It's insane. Build a homeless court out of things in the area. Have ironing boards for the 2 desks. Have the judge sit like on top of a mound of stuff, fashion it into a chair, and televise this every episode of Homeless Court. Every episode of Homeless Court needs to be televised. Every episode of Homeless Court. This is a hit. It's a hit. There's not a lot of stuff that I'm bullish on now. You know that. I neg a lot of stuff, and I'm right to. But I am bullish on Homeless Court. Homeless people hashing out their problems with other homeless people in front of a judge. They get lawyers. They have public defendants. Stop biting. Sit down. No drinking in the court. Sorry, Your Honor. This could be great. Homelessness is not going anywhere. We might as well make it more just. They're not leaving the street. Let's make the street more just. If they have issues, if they want things, like if you want something, the nation's first homeless court was founded in San Diego, and in a 3-year period, it handled nearly 11,000 cases. Just 16 of those cases resulted in a guilty plea. Yeah, well, of course. 11,000 cases. Did you do it? No. 16 of them resulted in a guilty plea. He's saying you lit his tent on fire. Nah. All right. So he's saying you came into his tent and at knife point stole drugs from him. No, you didn't do that. Okay. Well, by the powers vested in me in Homeless Court, you are free to go. Please have Homeless Court. That's where the sprinkle pool freak should have to go. He should go to Homeless Court, by the way, and he should have to explain that he injured himself in a sprinkle pool. When somebody comes up to Homeless Court and they're bleeding and they're having like a seizure and they're screaming at the judge, and then they go, all right, move on, and then they bring up him and he goes, hi, I injured myself in a sprinkle pool. Now I'd like some money. I'm sorry about this. There's 2 homeless guys trying to figure out who bit who first. And then they go, we're gonna take a recess to do this sprinkle pool nonsense. I love Prize Picks. I like winning. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. It's the best way to get action on sports in over 30 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, Texas. It is the best place to get real money sports action. I'm telling you. They invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get more money in as quick as 15 minutes. Prize Picks now offers Venmo for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your account this sports season. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday each Tuesday. Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. Think James Cook will get more than 60 yards next week? Joe Burrow pass more than 1.5 touchdowns? Cook up hot takes with your friends and win real money this football season when you and your crew run your game on Prize Picks. Run your game. I'm telling you right now, get hair. Men, when you leave the house, it's phone, wallet, keys, and how does my hair look? But if you're experiencing hair loss, like my friend John Kennedy, you may not be so confident when you step outside your door. It's time to, and he's not one of those Kennedys, it's time to get that confidence back and restore your hair with Hims. No man wants to lose hair, but for men, it's actually very common. And now with Hims, the solution is simple. Try Hims Hair Loss Solutions, and you'll be joining hundreds of thousands of subscribers who got their flow back. The only thing worse than losing your hair is waiting forever for it to grow back. That's why you need Hims. You can start seeing your hair grow back in as little as 3 to 6 months. Hims provides you with convenient and quality access to a range of hair loss treatments at work, all from the comfort of your couch. They make treating hair loss simple with doctor-trusted opinions and clinically proven ingredients like finasteride and minoxidil that can regrow your hair in as little as 3 to 6 months. Choose from personalized chewable oral spray or serum treatments to find out what works best for you. Start your online visit today, hims.com/Tim. That's HIMS.com/Tim for your personalized hair loss treatment option. hims.com/Tim. Results vary based on studies of topical and oral minoxidil and finasteride. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. I also, before we get out of here, I want to talk a little bit about Gen Z because Gen Z right now, the loneliest generation, they're spending 6 hours a day online. And this is obviously not their fault. No, the people writing about these, I'm not saying Gen Z is planting these articles because we're all a little sick of it. We're all a little sick of Gen Z. Every time we see them, they're dancing, by the way. But we're all a little sick of that they're the loneliest generation and they're spending too much time online. By the way, Australia just banned social media for people under 16. Social media is banned for people under 16 in Australia. Maybe that comes here in America. Probably not. There's just too much money in it. It seems like there's too much money that these things like TikTok are going to get banned. But Australia, they're not letting the kids on social media anymore. And a lot of this is probably a benefit to them. Okay? And they're going to really fine these companies if they fail to prevent children 16 and younger. Now, what does that do to TikTok? If you ban kids under 16 on TikTok, you're eating up their user base. Correct? Yeah. So I'll just tell you this. I think Gen Z is going to end up, I think what's going to happen with Gen Z is that this type of social media, whatever you want to call it, if you want to call it censorship, but it really isn't censorship. Social media is being blamed for all the ills in society. And make no mistake, it causes a lot of them. Is it a scapegoat? Sure. But is it a valid one? Yes. Young children are being manipulated on social media. They are being made to feel like shit. They're being bullied. They're bullying each other. They're interacting with adults in very unhealthy ways. They're being sexualized. They're being pulled into different communities they shouldn't be in. So this is actually the first Australia. This is the first country to just say, fuck it. We're not having social media if you're under 16 years old. We're not going to do it. You're not allowed. Think of how revolutionary this is. You're not allowed to have social media if you're under 16. None. You can be on the internet. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said the law supported parents concerned by online harms to their children. Platforms now have a social responsibility to ensure the safety of our kids is a priority to them. Here's the question. Will America do this? Jonathan Haidt wrote that book, The Anxious Generation. And the premise of that book was that social media is destroying the minds of kids. Here's the problem. It makes a lot of money. Social media companies make a lot of money. And if you kick everybody under 16 off, you're going to lose a lot of money. Will America ever pursue that? Will we ever put people's well-being above profit like that? It will be interesting. I don't know. I can't foresay. Some people said this policy will hurt vulnerable young people the most, especially in regional communities and especially the LGBTQI community, by cutting them off. You know, people were gay before Snapchat. I don't know how to tell people this. They were gay before Snapchat. They were. And they'll be gay after Snapchat. They're going to be gay and trans and whatever. I don't think they necessarily, what they are saying is that gay people can find each other on the internet. Well, the argument is that every group of people can find each other on the internet, but those people also exist in real life, by the way. They exist in real life. Maybe to a lesser extent than straight people, for sure, statistically, yes. But I do think that, you know, Wayne Holdsworth, whose teenage son Mac took his own life after falling victim to an online sextortion scam, has advocated for the age restriction and took pride in its passage. I have always been a proud Australian, but for me, subsequent to today's Senate decision, I am bursting with pride. So there's a lot of kids in Australia, because Australia is very interesting. It's a very dark place, even though it's very like sunny and, you know, everybody's in great shape and they all go, a lot of deadly animals, but nobody cares. People go swimming, they surf, they're hot, they fuck, da-da-da-da-da. There's a weird darkness underneath it because they're all descendants of criminals and they all live in these kind of like bucolic suburbs, but underneath that, there's a real darkness. They've taken all these Aboriginals and put them in the middle of the country. There's that they don't really speak about. But even deeper than that is just this idea, I think, that the Australian culture is about drinking and partying and having fun. And there's not many more elements to it except for that. And I think you either fit into that or you don't. And if you don't fit into that, you know, I don't know what you're doing over there, but there's been some wild stuff in Australia, some weird stories. That woman who poisoned her family with those mushrooms, the largest child porn bust in the 2010s was in Australia. Like, there's some weird shit going on, and I do understand people that go, "Hey, this will deprive the kids of the positive aspects of social media, drive them to the dark web, discourage children too young for social media to report harm, and reduce incentives for platforms to improve online safety." I do understand saying that my son or daughter is found a community on the internet that they don't have in their physical life, and it has helped them. I get that. But there's a lot of children that are being harmed on the internet, that are being taken advantage of, that are not finding physical communities. And that, you know, they're being extorted. Send me nudes. And then that poor kid, like, killed himself because they were saying, give us money or we're going to leak all your stuff. You know? I just wonder, in America, will we ever do that in America? I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it's coming. Many of the children in America who we would be protecting by getting rid of social media are just, you know, they make too much goddamn money, these kids. You know, like, they have thriving enterprises, some of these children. Thriving. They're killing it. Killing it. And you got to break a few kids to make an omelet or whatever. And I think, I'm saying it's terrible what's happening, but some of these kids, like, not everybody on the internet's going to care about kids as much as that Mr. Beast. Right? Like, you're right? Like, him and his crew, they care about the kids. But there are going to be people on the internet that aren't good to the kids. Mr. Beast's crew was so not, they would, like, talk to the kids. To me, to take time out of your day as a content creator to constantly speak to children is pretty fucking cool. And not every creator is going to have the time to do that. I'm just saying, it warms my heart because I get emotional because I was a kid that was, I was misunderstood and I was alone. And if someone from Mr. Beast's team could have reached out to me when I was a child and kind of good looking, let's be honest, and had me talk to them and send photos of myself, I would have felt better. That's my point. So maybe we don't ban the kids on the internet. Just do what Mr. Beast's team does and engage with them. Right? I mean, isn't that the answer? Isn't the answer, let's not ignore them, reach out to them, DM them, ask them what they look like. It makes them feel good, right? Am I wrong? I don't feel like I'm wrong. I'm curious. I'm asking questions. I don't know how to do it. My audience is adults, old people. It's curious to me. We have a lot of selfish creators that are not reaching out and exchanging photos with children on the internet. We'll end with this. Canada Mall criticized for using Baby Shark to deter homeless. Montreal Mall plays Baby Shark in hallways and stairwells so homeless don't sleep there. Blasting Baby Shark to keep out homeless people is just the latest tactic. Let's see this. Let's watch this. Blasting Baby Shark.
Just an ad first.
Well, there's nothing to really do. You know, you have to, that song is annoying. Do, 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 Baby Shark, do, 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 do. Here, let's see what, what happened here?
It's coming in weird.
What's going on?
This link is coming in weird. I wouldn't trust this.
We probably can't even play Baby Shark.
That's probably why.
My godson loves Baby Shark. An advocate for homeless people calls it tactic cruel and unusual. It is impossible to resolve the complexities of homelessness by using juvenile tactics that are conceived to exalt. Well, I did a thing about this years ago where they were just trying to turn every public space into a level from Super Mario Brothers. Like it all had spikes. And it all had like things that prevented homeless people from sitting down. And it just had like thwomps like falling on the homeless people. It just became Super Mario World. They just had little Koopas, little mechanical Koopa Choppas just go by. Well, they're trying to turn all these public spaces into video games so that homeless people cannot sit there or lay down or do anything. And now they're blasting Baby Shark. It's not easy. Nothing's easy. Okay? They're now hiring social workers to ensure a dialogue with homeless people. Our aim is to not coerce, but to support these people. Well, that's, What if the social workers keep trying to talk to the homeless people? They're like, we can get you a consultation. They'll do intake, they'll put you in, and none of it works. So the social workers just look at the homeless people and then they go, Grandpa Shark, do-do-do-do-do, Grandpa Shark, do-do-do-do. And the fucking homeless people are like, no! The social workers just sing Baby Shark very quietly. Grandma Shark, do-do-do-do-do, Grandma Shark. Can you imagine that? That's your job. I'm the guy that plays Baby Shark to get the homeless out of the corridor. Can you imagine that point in your day where they go get him, Ralph. And he's got to go crank up Baby Shark so that homeless people get up from the stairwell and move on to the next alley. That's a guy's job. We often talk about these things. We don't think about that that's someone's job. He's got to blast Baby Shark like he's in Abu Ghraib torturing a detainee. He's got, because we did that with loud music. He's got to blast the song Baby Shark and then watch the homeless crawl out of the stairwell. Is there any non-copyrighted Baby Shark we can play? Or is it all?
It's probably all copyright.
Yeah.
They probably got it all covered.
Because it's such an interesting, it is so annoying, that song. And you just see them like lumbering out. You play Baby Shark. Because it had to, by the way, they wouldn't do it if it didn't work. So one night they tried it. They go, just fuck it. Flood them with Baby Shark. And they turned up Baby Shark. And then all of a sudden you just saw a bunch of people with like that big foot and the blanket. And they just started moseying down the road. And they went, oh, we found what gets the homeless people moving. And it's the song Baby Shark. I wonder if it was the first song they tried. This has like 1 million trillion views.
It has 15 billion views.
Baby Shark.
It's one of the most viewed videos on YouTube.
Some of those views are homeless people being kicked out of a stairwell, by the way. That accounts for like the last 200 views are homeless people wandering out of a stairwell. TimDillonComedy.com for any tickets to live shows that you may or may not want to see. Austin, Texas at the Mothership, Wednesday, December 11th, Thursday the 12th. We're going to have a lot of fun. And we are excited to see everybody in Oxnard and Irvine in California. I'll be out there for a lot of December. We hope you enjoyed your holidays. I enjoyed mine. And we want you to go forward. And our new date, January 23rd in Connecticut, we're adding a second show at the Ridgefield Playhouse. We believe we're going to add a second show there. And thank you, everyone. We love you. We'll see you on Patreon, and we will see you next week. Baby Shark.